Hey, what do you say?
What do you say?
Welcome to the NFL Week 9 reaction show from Greenlight.
Welcome to the Week 9 NFL reaction show. Actually not brought to you by LeBron James Hennessy at all.
LeBron
But
James.
we drink it. We drink it. No?
I have a gift for everybody.
Yeah, just put your mouth on it.
It is mine.
Is it Hennessy?
It's not Hennessy, but
He said,
I want to.
just put your mouth
Not
on
interested.
I get
I can send this to you with Hennessy there.
It's been sitting in my
Beau.
studio for 3 weeks.
Perfect.
But here's you can have first pick.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, what is this?
This is a little gift.
All right, nice.
Everybody gets one.
Oh, the grill just opened.
Uh-oh.
Let's see, dude.
Nice
What do
little.
we got here?
Team.
Oh,
get
man.
Up the grill already?
I think there's one in there that I think you're really gonna dig.
What kind of hat? Where's these hats from?
Sendero. And
Sendero.
I wanted everybody to have a game day hat.
Well, this is a great.
That's the one I
hat.
thought you were
That
going
hat
to
is
take
fitting
because
great, yeah.
because of the Super Bowl logo.
Yeah, it looks
It
incredible.
looks just
it
like
does look like
just
Super Bowl
like
30.
Yep, the 30.
Very good thinking, Reed.
So,
Who said
And
that?
then fishing, not catching. That's why
And-
they call it fishing, not catching.
Yep.
Here you
And
go.
so I had
Or
gotten
Nate. Sorry, I should be thinking of you.
I got that for Nate, but also Nate, I got you a beanie too, but it's on the way. So you can
Go west to space, young man. That's you.
Oh, I have
So
mine.
you're-
I'm wearing
Oh,
mine.
so you're
okay.
picking everyone's?
Sorry.
No.
Who gives a fuck? Is that a problem?
No, that was
Why don't you
that was
start the
perfect.
show? Start the show. You know what I'm saying? Let me just get.
Well, I appreciate the hats.
We're just
one
gonna
way to
buy.
say
Everybody's got a game day hat now.
Game day hat?
Game day hat.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
game day hat.
I definitely need a beanie.
Game day hat.
And on game day, we want to hear from BetMGM as the sponsors of Greenlight Podcast.
Let me tell you about BetMGM. As you know, we've teamed up with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for you listeners each week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Number one, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code GREENLIGHT. Number two, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up. Hello,
Bonus code
man. BetMGM, the way I've been spanking that ass.
You and Stanford Steve
Oh, yeah.
taking it to him.
Oh, yeah. You want to throw that graphic up there? Listen, I will pull a muscle telling you when I was right. Okay, Stanford Steve was 5-0 this week. You got that graphic?
Yeah.
Stanford Steve was 5-0 this week in locks. Macon was 5-0 last week in locks, and I was 5-0 this week in locks. In total, we go 12-3 on the week. That's pretty good. Okay, even a blind squirrel. If we were blind squirrels, we're not blind squirrels. We know what the fuck we're looking at because on the season, we're doing pretty good.
You're 60%, Macon's 55, and Steve's 51.
We're crushing it.
Crushing it.
And I'm not saying we're great. We're just on a good little run here.
You know what's crazy?
What?
At the start of the season,
What's that?
I was playing a parlay with everyone's picks, and then I stopped, and now you guys are picking them.
Yeah, dude. All you gotta do is tail us. You're winning. What average 51, 55, and 60 together? That's 106 plus. It's 166 divided by 3.
57?
Yeah, I mean that's
Somewhere
pretty
in there?
good. That's like 55.3.
Exactly.
You're gonna beat the book that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not. Yeah, I gotta pump us up when we're doing the right stuff. Now there's some stuff that we're wrong about, and I'll tell you that as the show goes on. I had a guy this morning was like, I want to read you this tweet. The longer I do this, the more I fall in love with the listeners. You know,
As
just
you
the way
should.
they like to communicate and talk. Hey, Joel 91, love this show, and you aren't afraid to tell us when you get it right. I just told you that. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Antonio Pierce hiring 10 weeks into the season. You all caps loved this hire. I mean, I guess I got that one wrong. Now on to a team that matters this year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can't bat 1,000. I don't even know if I'm ready to say I got the Antonio Pierce thing wrong, or we got the Antonio Pierce.
I don't think
it's so early. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, and they don't have a running back either. They literally are.
Anybody. They just cleared house. They just fired everybody. He's still there though.
They're historically bad running the ball.
I'm not saying he's the right hire, and maybe I jumped out of the gym on this guy, but I just didn't think of that as like a really out on a ledge take. Hey, if the Raiders are going to be bad, I would enjoy watching a former player be the coach rather than just another guy getting a job, a retread, or some coordinator, some boy wonder. They got to have a quarterback before they get better. And we'll talk about them in the flyover games, although we did not watch that game. That's another thing. We get these flyover games going forward. This is just an admission that we are human. We can't watch every game on Sunday by Monday at 2 p.m. And as the season goes on, the nice thing is some teams, like the teams I used to play on, lose. And they lose and they lose, and eventually it's like, hey, you know what? Nobody cares what happened in Carolina this week. So we'll catch up with the Panthers fans later in the week, although there will be some topics coming out of these flyover games. America's teams, couple America's teams here. Number one, Jelly Roll fans. We went to a Jelly Roll concert.
Amazing.
What'd y'all boys think?
Show. Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, Jelly Roll, the performer, incredible, but the entire production itself, the whole thing was I was entranced the entire time.
Top 5 show I'd ever been to, and I didn't know jack about Jelly Roll.
No, I would say
song.
I would say the same thing.
Nolan and I were listening to songs as we were getting ready to go in. We were just like, all right, this one, okay, we got that one.
I'm the same as you. I was not like a Jelly Roll guy, and not because I don't like Jelly Roll. I just never listened to Jelly Roll. Like, so I had a buddy be like, hey, I know Jelly Roll's photographer, and he wants to hook you up. They want to hook you up with some tickets. Some of your boys want to go, and I put it in the group text. Y'all were like, yeah. So we went out there, and I gotta say, the guy's a fucking showman.
Yeah.
He's an absolute showman. And I got to meet him before the show, which to me was like, you know, sometimes you meet musicians, and I've fanboyed before, or at least been like, don't fanboy, you know? Because like, hey, the way y'all are with athletes, I love music the same way. So like, you know, I'll meet certain musicians, and I'm like, I gotta be on my best behavior now. But I didn't really know Jelly Roll, so I was just meeting a guy that, you know, was a dude meeting a dude meeting another dude. And
playing a guy dressed as another guy.
And I was blown away watching him back there. He has a huge band, all very talented, bunch of opening acts. And my man is like a leader, bro. He's like the leader of the pack. He's leading them in prayer. He's getting them hyped up before they go out. He's coordinating. He's walking around shaking hands, talking to people like, you know, don't need to say hello to me. Walked up, dabbed me up. I got to watch Jelly Roll walk out with the curtains. Like he's got some intro with Morgan Freeman talking. And the thing went dark, and like I could hear Morgan Freeman in that baritone, and I'm back in the bowels of, you know, John Paul Jones Arena. And it comes on, and he's like, check this shit out. Morgan Freeman, huh? Like he was like, man, can you believe it? And I'm like, bro, like that's you made it, bro. And then he goes, watch this shit. And the fucking curtains open, and he walks out, and I was like, bro, I've been to a lot of shows. This guy has command of the crowd as good as anybody. And he was up and down the stage. There were multiple stages.
Yeah.
It started raining on him the last 10 minutes of the show.
Fire. Yeah, it was fire.
It was great.
And then like where we got to stand, like kind of like in the midst of the control booth, so you can kind of see all the cameras and all the different angles of them setting stuff up. It was like extra cool just kind of seeing everyone like working their part to make this show like work. And it was just amazing from start to finish.
Everything. And I'm not usually into a stadium, like indoor stadium show. I like outdoor shows. Like I really like outdoor shows. But he made this pop, dude. It was awesome. And the light show and, like you said, the rain, everything, and we were right on the soundboard. It was crazy. They started putting bags over the equipment like 10 minutes ago.
Tarps came out.
I lean over to Nolan and I'm like, "Hey, do we want to move?" And they were like, "He's like, why?" I was like, "They're putting tarps." I was like, "It seems like we're about to get hit with like some type of projectile or water or something," and because they started covering up all the equipment with plastic wrap.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it started raining.
Probably feels good to get a cool shower after a show like that. That dude's out there in like leather, bro, and he's a big man.
And to open the show, it was like fire.
Yeah, it was fire.
And that was
the whole thing. So shout out to Jelly Roll and Jelly Roll fans. That was
and then we lost you when we were in the back for a little while. It was me, Nolan, and Reed, and Shabuzi opened for him.
Yeah,
and he was walking through, and I think because he looked,
he's big as shit, dude.
Yeah, I think because he looked and he seen I was the only black guy out of the group, he like calmly walked over and just dapped me up. And just kept walking.
Did he really?
Real smooth.
Like you got a dap from Shabuzi.
Shabuzi had never met him.
Yeah, I see
he was walking by. We kind of looked at each other. I was like, "Oh, that's Shabuzi." He dapped me up, and then him and his bodyguards just keep walking.
You know, he was a good football player.
Was he?
He's from Virginia. I think he went to Woodbridge.
Yeah,
where Ahmad Brooks and Clint went.
Yeah. Yep. Woodbridge.
So. Yeah, and he was big. Like he
was holding a basketball.
Yeah.
He was probably getting some shots up back there.
That's cool, man.
That's so
my
funny.
kids love Shabuzi. I mean, my kids make me listen to Shabuzi all day, and eventually I'm like, all right, let's listen to some Shabuzi. This guy's pretty cool.
When we right before Jelly Roll went on, they had the like hype up guys playing.
Yeah.
And so we were right behind the soundboards, right off the side of the stage. And one of the hype guys saw Nate, did the same thing, walked over to him real clean from the stage.
I feel like I'm like the guy that might look like a guy that everyone knows.
Yeah. They were like LeGarrette.
I get that a lot. Like people dap me up and they act like they
there was
know
a
me.
legendary run of people, and I, on record, don't see it. There was a legendary run of people calling you LeGarrette for 2-3 years. I mean, we had devout Pats fans, devout Eagles fans. We were at Waste Management, and some guy dressed in a caddy outfit saw me on like the upper concourse and was like,
"I see you, LeGarrette."
And he was like, I see you, LeGarrette. And then 10 minutes later, he comes all the way up, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna figure out it's not LeGarrette. And he daps you up. He's hanging out with you. He's asking you about the Super Bowl run. He's taking pictures. He's tagging LeGarrette.
Bro, I still think about those pictures all those people took, and like them, like when they realize, like, or someone tells them, like, "Yo, that is not LeGarrette Blount," like how they feel about taking those pictures.
Not good. I also want to shout out. I want to shout out America's team. Everybody that hates that guy from State College that harassed
Jason
Kelce. Listen, I know this is like, you showed me a really funny clip where it was like just the internet discourse after something like this where everybody has to weigh in and like everybody's got an opinion and it becomes like semantics and like, you know, the point I was making was like, yeah, certainly free speech by all means, but like you'll find yourself in the enclosure. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At the zoo. You know, when somebody like falls down into the enclosure and they're like, oh, there is the big wild animal I paid to see from a safe distance. Like, that's what happens. And that was Jason getting mad, but it could be worse.
Yes.
It could have been much worse. I mean, you lost your phone. I know there's some people that just like don't like the Kelceys now for whatever reason. And, you know, I think those are the lone few comments you're getting in the mentions that are like, yeah, well, you can't do that. I'm like, bro, like you invade somebody's personal space, you use a word like that, and you talk about somebody's family. That's like the holy trinity of like, I'm going to snatch that phone and Gronk spike it. And honestly, it was a clean. Beau, you haven't even been talking. Talk to me about what you thought about the Kelce thing.
I've been dying to talk about this. I think the most underappreciated aspect of this entire saga, the entire video, is my guy Kels had an open garage beer in his hand and was also carrying a case of beer and didn't spill a single fucking drop.
Yeah, it was
and
pretty,
didn't even
good.
He just had it like beer, hand beer, case of beer, completely unfazed. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. It was, I think I got like 100 texts when that shit popped. And honestly, like, I think the amount of time I spent with Kels over the last couple months, especially this summer, I was with him a lot. He has been getting like harassed, man. I'm like, you guys are barking up the wrong tree here. I think it was kind of due for some sort of situation like this. I know he probably has learned from it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about it on New Heights and on Monday Night Football, but impressive that he was carrying a beer and a case of beer at the same time and in the same hand. Like, that is just, that's a performer for you.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
not a guy you want to make upset. You know, guys carrying the beer and the case of beer in the same hand, Beau. I mean, that's just not the guy you want to pick out and upset. And I just, hey, another reminder that in today's world, and I'm not trying to big brother everybody, and I'm not trying to sound like the big tough guy, but like, I'm not saying it's me that if you say something like that too, that's gonna, you know, just gonna end up bad for you. Like, I might have restraint. I don't know. There's a lot I have to lose. I might be with my family. I might not want to fight somebody in front of my kids. I might not want to have to walk over and hand my toddler to somebody the way my dad did in the 80s at the Coliseum. Okay?
Everyone ain't going, man.
I'm also not 26 anymore. But you run up on the wrong person like that. The problem is, in today's world, everything is clout.
No, yeah,
and I don't mean to paint with a
I was
broad
waiting
brush.
for Fax to talk about the cloud demons.
It's
the drug. But like, this is like, ultimately, if you think about it, for that kid, like, this is what you want. Like, if you really think about this and you plan on doing this, what else do you ultimately want? I feel like this is what you want, because you can't think of anything.
What's the logical end? You know what I mean?
That's what it's the clout. It's I got this guy to emote at me, to show his emotion.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? Now everybody hates you.
And then pick someone who's not so rich, because you have to realize some people have money to beat you up and then pay for it later, and not care. Like, it's not worth it. It's literally not worth it.
And you can say, hey, that's not the right reaction, all that. But like, hey, when you leave things to chance with people's emotions, you cannot predict what happens. So like, that's the point. It's like, if you want to make somebody upset and then say, hey, well, that was my right to say whatever I wanted to say in a public space, and then it's not your right to react that way. Well, yeah, under the law, but like, the law doesn't govern situations like that.
And then Jason let him slide for like a little while, and he kept going. And it's just like, don't do it.
I don't want to get too into this. My laptop's about to die, so I'm going to plug that in. The producers
you got them labeled now.
The producers got everything for me.
Shout out Tanner. He's smoking.
The other thing I wanted to say is America's teams, people that vote. Whoever you're voting for, go vote. I've already voted. I'm not saying that like, look at me, I fucking voted, but you know, you have the right. You might as well. I personally, in Nick Bosa's words, it is an important time. I mean it maybe in a different way, but I'm not going to beat you over the head with my political leanings. I would just tell you to like, go vote, because it's not that hard. It really isn't. It's really not. You just got to make sure you color that circle in all the way. You know what I'm saying? I was in there like,
like high school when you got to fill in the bubble.
You got to fill in the bubble all the way, bro. So, and hey, whatever happens, and you know I have my preference of what happens, but whatever happens, I hope we can figure out how to go down the road as a united country, like a united front, and try to figure our problems out. Obviously I have a lean and I have a way that I want it to go, but like, I'm just one person. Go vote. Hey, that's the last of the America's teams. We're going to get into Sunday Night Football, shall we?
Sunday night.
Listen, I think for Indy, comes out. And Beau, did you get a chance to watch this one?
I watched this entire game. Skol, baby. One thing I thought was cool, I was a little jealous. One of my, kind of a homie from back in the day, Jamie Erdahl, she's on Good Morning Football. She was kind of like the it girl in Minnetonka when I was growing up. She's from my neck of the woods. She blew the giant Skol Vikings horn to start off the game. So I was a little jealous about that. Wanted to give her a shout out. But yeah, I watched the entire game.
But Beau, did you know that that's not real? She's not really
real
blowing
if you
that.
believe it's real.
It's real. It's about as real as Santa Claus. Because I think there's a red button. Now everybody knows that. It's that you thought it was really an acoustic thing. I don't mean to.
That room.
I just want to be like Gimli, bro, with the horn of Helm Hammerhand.
So they don't. They can't find someone that like actually can like blow one of those?
I don't know that thing is like a thing you really. I don't think it has the
right
like
acoustics.
I don't think it's really made. I think it's a big decorative horn with a red button on it that triggers like the sound speakers. But last night I was like, "There's the red button, dude." No, they're not frauds.
They're frauds.
No, they're not. And I also want to say this. Possibly, I might give it out in mentions, but I'll do it right now. But like, the basement in Minnesota, the Wabash Cave, or what are you calling that? Where Chris Collinsworth sounded like he wanted to go get shit faced in there like immediately when he saw it, and I felt the same damn way. It was like a Prohibition era bunker looking thing.
Wabash Street Caves.
Oh, it looks amazing. We need to go there. I don't know why we'd be back in Minnesota.
That's at the bank. Is that at the bank?
I don't know. It's not at the bank. It's like in town somewhere. It was like in Prohibition.
South shore of Mississippi River in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota.
St. Paul.
All right, let's go.
It's in the other city.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is the Vikings horn real? That's the green light poll that just came out. There's still 25% of people that think it's a real horn. Let's just go to the game. Okay, here's what it was. And I don't think Flacco not playing well in this scenario is like reason to say, hey, Flacco shouldn't be the guy. I mean, like, honestly, you could say, hey, maybe Richardson might have looked better because of some of the play extension or, in some of these situations where they're mugging up and they're dropping a bunch of guys and they're rushing for, maybe he'd be able to hurt him with his legs because Flacco really didn't hurt him with his arm. But I think every other week we've seen, like, look at the completion percentage, look at how efficient, relatively speaking, Joe's been compared to Anthony, and the turnovers as well. So this is not a good game for Joe Flacco. You also have to remember Joe Flacco's been around a while, and so is Brian Flores, and I feel like he probably feels like he knows him pretty well. I think Indy's opportunity to win this game, and it was a real opportunity. They had a couple real opportunities. They squandered, going on the road and taking a lead, like a multi-score lead. They had an opportunity to go down. And when you're on a script, I really believe this. Your script is your best stuff, right? It's if you can score first, especially on the road, you take the ball. I don't know if they won the toss or what, but they get the ball first. They go on a drive. They're moving the rock. They're on script, and they botch a handoff. It's a 40-year-old quarterback who's done this a million times and one of the best running backs in the league. And, that to me is like, when that happened, I kind of thought to myself, they might still win this game, but this was their best shot to go in there and get points out of the gate. They also missed a field goal as a result of an illegal shift and a negative play. And then, fast forward to late in the game, Beau, I thought they had chances at the end of the third. They gotta have it to start off the fourth quarter. You go A.D. Mitchell. You remember that circus catch, that toe tap on the sideline, which was incredible. I still couldn't believe he got 2 feet in. Great young player. And then they get to 3rd and 8, and what do? You throw the ball right to Murphy. And it was like Josh Downs is like palms up. Like, where was that going, big bro? And, Flacco, again, the next 3rd and 8, bad decision. Had Taylor in the flat, went to Pittman. Just all night, it just felt like he didn't quite know where to go with the ball. And so I want to credit Minnesota for playing a great game defensively, B-Flow having a great game plan, because for a lot of this game, it looked like, and I'm talking about the first half, Minnesota wasn't playing their best, and those interior guys were wrecking the game. And I'm talking about Stewart.
The triangle of terror.
Yeah, they kept
triangle of pain.
Yeah.
I was so sick of that from Colin. I texted our group chat. I was like, if I hear this shit one more time. No,
if I have to see people's PFF grades on the intros one more time.
Seriously.
It's unbelievable.
But to me, like, I thought the Colts, if they want to win this game, they really need to come out early. It wasn't the best performance from the Vikings. They had a lot of mistakes. Their kicking game was weak. They had turnovers and things like that, but they still overcame and won. I think for me, it's a little bit of what you said. Like, Flacco's been around for a while. He's a completely different quarterback than Anthony Richardson. We know that. That's kind of the whole point. That's why he's starting, is to give this offense something different, try to get them in rhythm. And so I think what they need to try to do is get to their run game a little bit more. Use JT, Wisconsin stud. I'm going to look it up right now, but I think they only had like 60 or 70 yards rushing, 68 yards rushing. But for me, if the Colts want to be, successful and they want to be the team that they are trying to be under Flacco, they need to run the hell out of the ball, protect it, play good defense, and then hit like those deep play action passes to like Alec Pierce, things like that. And they just really didn't. It didn't ever feel like they got going, and I think the Vikings kind of allowed them to hang in there a lot more than.
I mean, the Vikings are a better team. Like, we knew that coming in. We just thought maybe it was a spot where, and it was like where the Vikings started a little bit slow. Obviously, I don't know what incarnation Sam Darnold's looking at on that first red zone trip, and some of the shine's coming off him a little bit, but I still think he's plenty capable to lead this team to the playoffs and take them on a run. I see a really good football team when I see this team playing, and listen, they get Hawkinson back. There's a process with I don't know reestablishing his place,
reintegrating.
Reintegrating him. You obviously. The Jefferson throwback screen was awesome on 3rd and 16. Yeah. I do think the Vikings have got hosed on a couple calls in a 2-week span. Obviously,
they have,
and not so obviously this time. I mean, there was still forcible contact to the head on the. It's one that I'm not crazy about, but by the letter of the law, that's got to be called probably.
It's a penalty, and I think if you're a Vikings fan, you're justifiably upset about that, especially coming off of that egregious missed face mask. And like everyone's kind of dogging on Bradbury for getting run over by Grover Stewart for that sack, but like he snapped the ball. He clearly stepped on the right guard's foot and then just got bulldozed.
People don't see that foot thing. They never see the foot.
No, that happens all the time.
Yeah, they never see that thing.
Whenever you see an O-lineman go down in the first, 2 milliseconds of a play or whatever like that, he's getting stepped on.
Check the feet. Check the feet.
Like I watch tape with Ali Marpet a lot and stuff like that, and it's so funny when you watch tape as a D lineman with an O lineman. I'm like, oh, that's a sick bull rush. She's like, he has foot stepped on. Like, what are you talking about?
No question. But people don't care, and so listen, I think the positives for the Vikings are Robinson comes in midweek, starts, plays really well. He was actually surprisingly, in my opinion, a very big part of the run game. But that's really good to come in a couple days. Also, credit to Kevin O'Connell, who I didn't think had his best day like early on in this game, but you can believe when they came out in the second half, they were cooking, because if you give that guy a couple minutes, and Gus Bradley's the guy on the other side, and I like Gus and everything, but that's a little bit more of a vanilla scheme. They brought a little bit more pressure. But generally speaking, I would give the edge to that offensive coordinator, that head coach. And so, they were hitting Jefferson on the dig routes. They loved that. It was finally late in the game. Indy got keen to that. They picked off Minnesota the second time, and that really gave Indy another opportunity. They just couldn't make the most of their opportunities. I wanted to shout out Cam Robinson, though, as well as just the coaches for getting this team ready to play on a week where, listen, coming off 2 losses in a row, you come home. That can be a tough deal. If you start slow in your building, you're down multiple scores possibly, and it's kind of quiet. People in Minnesota, they're not really the boo type crowd. But, if that game was in Philly, maybe they're getting booed a little bit in the first half. People can get tight. So to come out in the second half and do what they did, especially with the kicker missing multiple kicks, first time not scoring 10 points in the half, maybe all year, Reed, right?
This season.
And so, just a gutsy win for the Vikings. I don't think it tells us a ton we didn't know. And I don't think it tells us a ton we didn't know about Indy, but it was football night in America. So we had to hit that off the top.
And we talked about the slow starts, the fast starts, but the slow second halves that they had. This was the Vikings' third time under 3 seasons with Kevin O'Connell that they didn't score in the first half, but ended up winning the game.
Right.
The other 2 times was 2021, the Colts game that they came back. They were down 33-0, and they came back.
Oh, my God. That's
and
one of
then
the worst,
Raiders that they won 3-0.
Or best comebacks, worst collapses ever. I remember the Nick Mullins Raiders game.
Yep.
3-0. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yep.
I thought we were going to get a scoreless game for a lot of it, or whatever it was, 3-0.
And the reason why this is really another insult to injury for Colts fans, why this sucked, is because the Colts, their defense played really, really well.
Yeah, they did.
And it's for a game for them to play this well and your quarterback doesn't, like really help on the offensive end. Like Zaire Franklin and DeForest Buckner played out of control.
Zaire was great.
Zaire kind of like bailed
Dude,
him out.
I think he's the leading tackler in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Zaire Franklin.
He's good. He's all over the field.
No, but here's the deal. I mean,
Hey, Siri, who leads the NFL in tackles?
Zaire Franklin.
But here's the deal. There's been games where they've given up a lot on defense.
Absolutely.
And, like I can think about the Jacksonville game where Flacco's keeping a minute. So, it's the ebb and flow of the deal. I don't know this team really has an identity right now.
Yeah, and it's they can't get it together on both sides at the same time.
Yeah, and they're not a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
There's a decent team in there. A team that honestly can cause some people problems if they get it together, at quarterback. But at the end of the day, it's like if you don't have an identity, and I don't know what their identity is right now, you can't separate. They're kind of in the pack. They're the consummate like above league average team. It's just they're going to be tough.
Yeah, going to shock some team late. Kind of.
It should be run game. I mean, their identity should be run game, and I think that's what the Anthony Richardson pick. You make that pick with that in mind. You've got quarterback run, you've got a physicality with that guy with the ball in his hands. It's great, but if you can't stay on schedule, you can't be a run team. So when you're missing speed outs and little comebacks, and you can't hit a ball in the flat, like that's part of the reason they make this move, because they want to be a run team. They want to be a run team.
I'm not going to lie, though, Chris. I was a little disappointed in Flacco. Like, I was expecting a little bit more from him. He's a 39-year-old quarterback. You see Flores' defense, like, really confuse protections and younger quarterbacks. And I was hoping that he would kind of come out and really put an end to, like, the quarterback controversy a little bit. And
right.
He really, I don't know, he didn't do much. But I thought one of the things I thought was really interesting is just watching these two defense. Like you said, Nate, the Colts defense played really well. The triangle of pain. But it's two very different defensive philosophies, right? So B-Flow is a lot of confusing blitzes, a lot of versatile players that play in, all sorts of different positions, and a lot of pre-snap confusion, hidden coverages, shit like that. Whereas I feel like the Colts, they're just 4 down, cover 3, don't blitz
very
a lot,
basic.
get vertical.
They've been blitzing more, but very
more
basic.
about their players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just need their players to play well defensively if they want to play well defensively. And so that's one thing I thought was interesting in this game. And the Colts defense did play well. So I mean, I still think Indianapolis will do well in the AFC South just because the way the Texans have been lately, and the Jags still kind of hang in there, man. Like they don't lose games by much.
No, you're right about that. They don't lose games by much, except for when they went to Buffalo. Let's talk about the NFC, because that's one of the best teams in the NFC. Let's look at the standings here as we get ready to talk about the best team in the NFC, which is the Lions. They proved it again yesterday. I mean, the Lions and the damn Commanders are up here with 7 wins. Like if you'd have told me a team in Washington, a team in Detroit are going to be ruling the football world on the side of the NFC like 5 years ago. I mean, look at this. Detroit, Washington, Atlanta, Arizona.
And we have a ton of clarity in the NFC already. Like 6 of these 7 teams are probably 80% or better to make the playoffs. If you
not the NFC West, though.
If you look at Bo. So if you look at like Packers, Eagles, Vikings, Falcons, Commanders, Lions, those guys are all pretty much locks at this point, 2 games ahead. NFC West could go any way. Big news just came out. Christian McCaffrey is eligible to return this week and is on track to play.
Oh, my fantasy team is still alive!
My son is going to be hyped about that too.
Does he have
really aren't you 1-7?
Yes! Let's go.
I'll tell you who's not hyped about that though. Every team in the NFC West, and honestly, go back to the standings. I mean, like, look at teams like the Bears, for instance. They have to win a wild card berth. They're not winning the North with the way they're playing and the way they've fallen out of it. And we thought they'd slide into a wild card and strengthen that defense. We're going to get ready to talk about them in a little bit. There are other teams on here where you're just like, I don't know if they can outpace the Rams. I don't know if they can outpace the Seahawks. I don't know. There are some teams, if you go down to 3-win, Dallas and – geez, Carolina's got 2 wins. How about Dallas is only a game ahead of Carolina? Oh,
wow.
Which team would you rather be on, though, Chris? Would you rather
the Carolina
be on the
Panthers?
Dallas Cowboys?
It is much worse. It's much better to be on a bad team without expectations than a bad team with expectations.
Imagine Torres walking through the locker room right now.
Oh my God. Terrible.
It would be absolutely
terrible,
awful.
bro. Just the way they rent that fucking facility out to whoever. Whoever. So, anyways,
we fucking suck.
Let's look at the best team in the NFC. That's the Lions, man. And we started the show telling you everything we got right. Like, I thought the Packers would cover in this game. I really did. And honestly, it was a game where, and I don't want to do that. Detroit fans, I'm not trying to say it was close, but from a standpoint of the yardage gained and, kind of the flow of the game, for a while there, you thought maybe. I mean, definitely for the first 15 minutes of the game, you thought this is going to be a low possession game. It's going to be about the red zone, which it was. And it's going to be about taking care of the football, which it was. And the Lions did a better job of all those things. They just, what's so impressive about this damn team? It doesn't matter what they did last week. It never does. And, that to me is a sign of a really well-coached team. So, Dan Campbell coming off a blowout, whether it's a blowout or a shootout in Minnesota or, a blowout at home where you beat the Titans 52 to whatever it is. The next week, you got this divisional game. Not only you're not looking ahead to the divisional game and you're taking care of the Titans, you're taking care of the divisional game, and to me, this is twice now the Packers at home had a chance in division to prove that they're where we thought they might be. They're not where we thought they might be. I still think they're a very good team. I do think, honestly, the weather affected them, ironically, more than it affected Detroit. And I'm one of these people that thought that, wet ball, that might not be the best situation for Jared Goff. I mean, Tom Brady said it during the broadcast, so I'm not the only idiot out here. I thought that I thought maybe they'd come down to earth a little bit, but they didn't. And it's not like you have to ask the quarterback to do too damn much in that situation. You shouldn't. It's 49 degrees. It's pissing rain. What he has to do is make those throws in the red zone, which he did, and which Jordan Love didn't do. You look at that first possession, the Packers go down, and they have an opportunity to score and cash in on an 8-9 minute drive. And with the possession on the line, you're off target. And the ball's wet. Okay, usually I say if it hits you in the hands, you got to catch it. But in this situation, if you're a quarterback who gets paid a lot of money, I know you're playing hurt and all this, and I'm a big fan of Jordan Love's, you have to make those throws. You have to put the ball in front of Wicks in the second half. Yes, could you say Wicks needs to catch that ball in the end zone? Absolutely. But it is pissing rain. You don't take anything off it, and you put him behind him. I know the injury has something to do with some of the throws, but at the end of the day, I almost felt like as the game went on that Malik Willis might have been better suited for a game like this where you just say, hey, we're going to embrace the identity. We're going to stop trying to push the ball down the field. The problem in this game is Jordan Love tried to do too much because he didn't do enough early. If you cash in on that first possession, at least you're hanging in there. But the problem is you didn't, and Detroit went right down the field, and guess what they did? Their quarterback, who's playing like an MVP, with two gloves on, makes that throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're not asking these quarterbacks in this game to do a ton unless you end up down 2 scores. And you don't want to go down 2 scores in a fucking monsoon. So that's kind of the way it ends up for me is Detroit came into this game. We worried about the elements for them. Green Bay is going to play in the elements a lot. They have to be better. They have to be more disciplined. They dropped the ball 5-6 times. They had a bunch of penalties. They're one of the most penalized teams in the league. And Detroit, on the other end, played like a team that plans on playing deep into January and February. And this is why we put them in the damn bowl. Because they're well coached, ironically. The guy who was biting kneecaps day one and everybody wrote off as this dumb meathead has got one of the best coached football teams in the league, one of the most unselfish football teams in the league. And when they go on the road and play in a divisional game like this, they had their shit together. You could say the game would be different if you hit that field goal. Well, it'd be different if Kraft doesn't drop the ball on third down. Mm-hmm. It would definitely be different if you hit that field goal and you're saying to yourself, and this is the problem with playing the Lions and going down, is they choke you out. It felt like an anaconda situation. They just slowly squeeze the life out of you. And to me, the biggest play of the game was probably, if not the field goal, it was the drop that preceded it, the missed field goal that would have made it 7-6. Instead, the Lions go the length, right? And now you've got to score with not a lot of time left in the first half, because coming out, you might not just go down 2 scores, but it might be halfway through the third quarter because of the way the Lions play. So when Jordan Love gets the ball back, he's playing hero ball. And to me, that's the problem. And Tom Brady said it. He hit the nail on the head late in the third when he almost threw him another one. Just make the throw. Just make the throw. And another thing Detroit does really well, just on strength of having these guys, is they got Sonic and Knuckles. They have 2 backs, and they're very different in the way they run the football. So for defenses, every possession is different. The things you have to key in on are different, the whole thing. And, Beau, you know how this is. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to run the ball differently than David Montgomery. You're going to see different concepts. You're going to see different things in the passing game. And then juxtaposed to the Packers, who have a really good back. I actually like that back just as much as the other guys, Josh Jacobs. But there's only one of them on that roster that plays like that. And the problem is you play a team like the Lions, and if it were going to be a grinded-out game, I turned to Nolan in the first quarter, and I said, I wonder if Josh is going to wear down if they have to give him the ball a lot. Whereas the other guys, they got 2 of these guys. And so it's just another built-in deal for Detroit where they're just built differently. And if they become this team that can go anywhere, play in any weather, play outside, play in the rain, play in the snow, they're going to be held to deal with.
That's what
they already
Campbell
are.
said, though. That's what he said. He's like, we'll play him in the mud. We'll play him in the snow, whatever, like how he talks. But I think what's so interesting is, like, okay, the Detroit Lions are the class of the NFL right now. Crazy. If you were to ask me 10 years ago, I'd have been like, what are you smoking? But what's so fun to me is the Lions, like, really do have a chip on their shoulder, man. You see Amon-Ra St. Brown come into Lambeau, one of the most historic, fields in the NFL. He's wearing a Green Bay Sucks sweatshirt. Like, that's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny.
What's his name? Branch gets ejaculated.
Yeah.
And
so for people that
off the crowd,
can we say what? So people don't think you're just it's a Freudian slip. ML football is so desperate for clicks, and I gave it to him. I mean, I'll hand up.
What's your favorite account?
Bro, that account now, like, it's so funny how all the aggregators are different. Dov Kleiman is just after whoever the new Dov Kleiman is just after engagement, kind of salacious stuff and like putting people in bad spots. It's kind of like the TMZ of the football world. ML football is like literally Joel Osteen now. Everything's about like this guy prayed like nobody's ever prayed in the NFL before, or it's just like the occasional intentional ejaculation spelling. Like, I don't even know what ML football is doing. And then I think Ari Miroff is certified. He's actually a good aggregator. Yeah. He went over to the 33rd team and he's actually talking ball. So just a little guide to the aggregators there.
Did you agree with the ejection?
I wanted to say, though, that they have a chip on their shoulder, man, and they play hard as hell, and you have to love it. Like, they just do it. Each week, they find something to, like, get pissed about and rally behind as a team. And it's like, it's kind of just shocking to me how they're all always so cohesively on the same page about some sort of perceived slight or injustice. And I love it. Like, it's great. I mean, think about the Cowboys game a couple weeks ago. I don't know. Like, they just seem to have such a cohesive locker room and like togetherness that I feel like you don't really see.
I so agree with you. And then somebody, Brett C just said in the chat, ML football on the Galaxy gas. Hey, listen, Beau doesn't know what Galaxy gas is.
Oh,
yeah, what is that?
It's like a new drug.
It's nitrous.
It's what the clout generation is into. Like, they want to die faster than us. They want to get more clout than us. Everything's instant gratification with this fucking generation. I sound like old man yelling at a cloud. But here, hey, bro, interior guys. This is the key to the game for me, was the interior guys for the Packers did not wreck the game. And so for that, I can't wait to dig into the All-22 a little bit more and see who really, really played well up front for Detroit. But I actually think Penei Sewell had one of those step-on situations. I'm talking about Detroit's. I'm talking about Detroit's offensive line. Detroit's offensive line not giving up a lot of interior pressure was big to me, and so and they also got to pick their spots. That's kind of a saving grace for Detroit. Is like, in the weather, we're not going to let you tee off. We're not going to be throwing the ball a bunch. We're going to run the rock. And, when it's time to transition on a wet field and play action, that's tough. So I really look forward to seeing round 2 from these teams. I think it'll be a better game. But Detroit, I got the win total at 10.5 or whatever I got it at.
13.
Bro, it's cake.
Yeah.
Like, it's cake. This team, along with the Washington Commanders, who I got at 6.5, has already hit.
Knock on wood, Chris.
No, I know. I'm just going to go ahead and some Lions fan, they're going to go on a skid at some point. Lions fans are going to be like, you jinxed it. Like, that's how it works.
You see in the chat, they're calling Lions a Ferrari with mud tires.
This is funny. Luis Enrique Justiniano said Goff was 11-11 at one point in a monsoon. They said that on the broadcast. They were like, in a monsoon. It was nuts, dude. I mean, like, hats off to this team. Hats off to Jared Goff. And
with a depth target downfield, right?
Yeah, no
he
question.
Was not like screens and stuff. He was.
There were some screens, but he was hitting the middle of the field just like he normally does. And the way they can manipulate space in there is just like.
Who was it? Watson? Watson got to go get his eyes checked.
Yeah.
He had a lot of depth issues.
He had depth issues. He was like jumping but
early.
not sure when to jump. You know who else does a great job of getting space in the middle of the field is Miami. And I think Goff is like a legitimate guy. I think the other guy is like a solid player and everything, but like I think Goff, the way he can take advantage of that space in the middle of the field, it's so hard with that run game. Being a backer playing the fucking Lions has to be the worst. It has to be like back when I looked at my schedule and would see like some all-pro tackle, and you kind of circle that one, and you'd be like, that's going to be tough sledding that day. To play at the second level and play the Detroit Lions is tough. So
one game and a pass game.
Yeah.
You're getting exposed. You're not ready.
Yeah, exactly. You guys want to?
Chris, let me ask you. I want to ask you about that ejaculation before we move on.
Sure.
I thought that was weak as hell. I did not like it.
Oh yeah.
And then for Brady to comment on it, kind of created that whole interesting discourse about him now as an owner of the Raiders, and he can't criticize refs and blah blah blah. What did you think that was justified?
Listen, to me, it's two conversations. Do I think it's the right rule? I don't think that's how it should be. I don't think a guy should get ejected for that hit. So but if by the letter of the law it's an ejection, then we need to look at the rules. Like, we can't look at the referees or the officials upstairs and say, hey, you're wrong. If by the letter of the law that's the right thing, like, then the rule's the problem, not the execution of the rule. And I don't love that. Like, in the manifestation of that rule is that, then I don't love that, because it was forcible, and he had an opportunity to slow down and get out of the way. But it's like when you take a guy like Brian Branch off the field, there are hits that I watched and I'm like, that was a little bit much. That was a little bit much, but that wasn't a lot of bit much. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm just being a meatball about it. But I got to be honest with you, I could think around this thing for 5 minutes and watch it 100 times, but I just feel like that's a lot to lose a guy like Brian Branch early in the game because he loaded up and tried to give a guy a shot. Now, he hit him right in the head, and that's probably where he gets into trouble. So, did you see the whole Lions secondary posted on social media? They posted the same picture of Branch throwing the double bird.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah,
for their guy.
Yeah.
Before we leave,
you gotta love it.
Before we leave this game, we've got to select our MRP from Friday's show.
So somebody asked a good question. Choro, what happens if there is intent to harm? You can't throw them out. Like, that's the hard thing about.
Well, is intent to harm?
There always is, right? It's really like harming above the head and neck area, which again, this is the point. Is like, I'm not up here crusading all pissed off about them throwing Branch out. I don't like it, but I also understand it. So, like, I know my thing is I'm supposed to have a very demonstrative take. I don't have one here. I think ultimately the game has changed, and guys got to play by the rules. But I didn't think that was like a headhunter.
I didn't think it was egregious. Yeah,
it definitely. And the problem is we watch it in slow motion so much that it's really hard to, like, they don't go back and show it. I wish they go back and show it at full speed.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
the slow-mo people are like, oh, he could have moved.
And maybe he could have.
It's happening so fast.
And maybe he could have. But the point is, that's a really, really good quote. Intent to harm there always is. So anyways.
MRP. We got to pick our
we got to pick our MRP. Why don't you guys talk about it for a second? When I get back from the bathroom, I'll pick from a group of finalists. I got to pick a leak.
Throw out a couple, and again, this is our green light most random player. We threw it out on Friday. Lions-Packers was the game of the week. Make sure to catch our Friday show so you can enter your most random player. The winner will get a piece of Greenlight merch. A couple ones. Packers, TJ Duckett, Javon Walker, also a former Bronco. We had Tony Scheffler, another former Bronco for the Lions, Javid Best. And this is probably the first MRP one of the first named MRPs who also commented. George Foster was someone named him as their MRP, and then he also commented and said, George Foster said, "Chris, I can't believe he didn't say big grease." I don't know if you caught that last part. George Foster was he was called out as an MRP, but then he also commented and said, "Can't believe Chris didn't say big grease."
Who's Big Grease?
I don't know. I guess no one knows except George Foster.
No, but you know what? That might be his nickname or something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was his nickname. But
I was saying he's the first MRP who was selected by the people and to comment on an MRP.
So you should tag your MRPs, man.
Yeah.
If like Aaron Campman's on Twitter.
Camp. What up, Camp?
Then
Aaron
you need to
Campman.
I love Aaron.
Dude, I just signed. You know how like I saw a meme the other day. Like, there's nothing like a random white wide receiver that you loved when you were in middle school. You know what I mean? That was Aaron Campman for me. I had a signed Aaron Campman photo in my bedroom growing up as a Minnesota high school football player.
One of my like favorite best teammates. It was just one of the best like dad figure.
Yeah.
And like a guy that you can learn a lot and ask questions, and he had a lot of knowledge because when I got to play with him, he was kind of like on his last leg out.
Yeah.
But seeing a guy that like just you can tell he loved the game.
Yeah.
And like when guys get older and you're fighting through injuries, it takes a lot to get up every day and be on a bad team and have a purpose to still play.
Yeah,
and
no question.
It's really ultimately that you love the game, and he was a guy that you can tell that. And from the short time he was my teammate, like that's one thing
Damn,
I
shots
remember.
fired at the 2012 Jags.
Bro, I mean, what do you say? Like,
Yeah, no, I know.
When you get rid of
Wait, Fax, you played with Jared Allen too, right?
Yep. You
got Jared Allen and Aaron Campman.
Yeah.
Two white goats.
Yeah, you played with a couple of white goats
Great
there.
whites.
The Great Whites.
And Chris Long. Don't forget Chris Long at
you can put me
Virginia.
in.
Great
trying to take
white.
shots.
You can't put any of us in the
College great white.
you can't put but you can't put us in the fucking Jared Allen category. That's a whole different category.
Yeah, I was on his team.
Me and
just for
Cameron are in the
what's it
same
called.
genus.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Jared Allen's a whole nother species of white.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I'm saying?
Rodeo.
Me and Cameron were your standard whites.
Rodeo.
Use the long arm, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jared Allen's long arm was
Technical.
like he could touch you from. But the problem with Jared Allen was he was technical,
Yeah.
and he had that like game changing twitch and length.
Yeah.
And he had really like thin hips. You know what I mean? Like I didn't mean to be, but you know, like there's some guys that are like wide hipped, and
Yeah.
some guys you could just he had that like slender guy athleticism. He's like 6'8", bro. Like his length and the technique, bro. He was incredible. So
I got him in an epic selfie that he probably didn't want to take with a group of us on the
Yeah.
Bears.
Oh, really?
Like a few weeks before I got cut. So
you got a
glad-
selfie with him?
Glad I got it.
No, he seemed like a good dude. Who else we got here? What's the final?
Jeff Janis.
Jeff Janis.
We had Johnny Jolly, Tom Crabtree, Tony Scheffler.
Johnny
was named
Jolly
it.
was a tight end.
I believe so.
No BJ.
Yeah, blocking
Raj?
tight end
No
too.
BJ Raji?
Mike Furry. blocking
Mike
tight end.
Furry.
No one said BJ Raji?
Mike Furry, you might be the guy. Hold on. I wonder what Mike Furry's doing right now. Mike
I
Furry.
think I saw he was coaching college with South Carolina, maybe.
That's a musical artist, Mike Furry. Doesn't look like a NFL player. What? Okay, give me a couple more names. I don't
We had T.J. Duckett, Javon Walker, Don Molback,
Jerome Brown.
I'll know it when you tell me.
Ricky Jean Francois,
Okay, I like him a lot.
Ed O'Neill, not to be confused with the actor, Joik Bell, Javid Best, Doug Pederson was named, Ahmad Green, Corey Schleichinger,
Yeah, I remember Schlesinger.
Kyler Fackrell.
Wait, when did Corey Schlesinger
Ooh,
play?
Kyler
Like the
Fackrell.
90s? I might have to give it to this guy.
He
Look at him, bro.
yeah,
Corey Schlesinger.
Is he
I
a
think-
fullback?
95 to 2006. Yeah, fullback.
Yeah, I think
Oh my
Corey
God, he
Schlesinger
just
wins.
looks like a fullback.
I think Corey Schlesinger wins. That's our MRP this week.
Perfect.
Pull up a picture of him.
Yeah, I didn't even see the position, but the picture just screams fullback.
Pull up that picture.
Look
of
at
him.
that neck and face.
Look at his neck and face. Look at that neck roll.
Yeah, you got to have the roll.
What's he doing right now? He can't turn his neck. I can guarantee you. I can barely turn my neck. I didn't run ISO 40 times a game.
I wonder if the guys who wear a neck roll, like back then, if they would wear a neck roll and a Guardian cap together, like what that would look like.
Here was my question about the Guardian cap. If you ball out, like if you're H-An and you become like a Hall of Famer and say you win the Super Bowl for the Dolphins on like a walk-off and they put a statue up of you outside the stadium, is it a statue with Guardian cap?
Gotcha.
Like, and how fucked up does that look?
It probably looks awesome.
There's something about the Guardian cap.
Just do the normal statue with the like bronze helmet and then like the literal Guardian cap on top.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty good.
that's funny.
That's the both worlds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got to protect the statue.
Protect the statue.
Okay. What's next? Commies. We got to talk about the commies.
Quick commie convo.
Quick commie convo. Listen, commies. You know the Giants have played a couple teams close. They played the Bengals close, who are not cooked. By the way, let me get. You hear that grill clanging around? Oh my goodness. A little bit early here. Can we go to the wide shot?
Oh!
We got the Cincinnati Bengals right here.
That's a push.
What do you mean?
You're pushing it.
What do you mean? They're uncooked. They're not cooked. Here we got some. You want some?
Yeah.
Really? It's been sitting out here a while. Are you going to eat it? You eating that sushi that's been sitting out here a while?
Fear factor.
Raw dog salmon? Oh, my God. He just raw dogged some grocery store salmon without any soy sauce.
How did that taste?
He's eating
Get
the
a rating
cats.
on that.
He's eating the
It's
cats.
good.
He's eating the Bengals because the Bengals are uncooked. And now it smells like sashimi in here. But I don't even know what we're talking about. We're talking about the commies.
Yeah.
Okay. First half stat line for Daniel Jones was like 4 yards.
0 yards.
0 yards.
4 for 4, 0 yards and a touchdown.
Interesting thing. Somebody, I mean,
4 of
I've seen
6,
this.
4 of 8. Something
I've
like
seen
that,
this
yeah.
written a couple times, and y'all brought it up today. Was that the Giants could bench Daniel Jones because if he keeps playing and risks injury, they could potentially owe him way more money next year.
$23 million in injury guarantees for next season.
Before anybody else says it, does it remind you of another situation? Russ, okay? And I cannot wait to see everybody that was really up in arms about the treatment of Russell Wilson to do the same thing for Daniel Jones. This is actually the perfect guy to be the antithesis of Russell Wilson. That he is one of the most hated people at quarterback in the NFL among sports media folks. So are we going to get super mad now because the Giants do the right thing for their pockets and sit him down in a couple weeks? I'm not going to be mad. I can't wait to see if people are consistent about it. They probably won't be.
Definitely won't be.
They definitely won't be. But yeah, I would sit him down. If we got to owe him more money next year, I'd sit him down. You're not like at this point, this team is kind of out of it. Cooked. So
you know what? I was at Tip Top, local like breakfast brunch spot this weekend, and it brought a tear to my eye, Chris. I seen an elderly old white woman walking in, and she had on a crispy, brand new Jaden Daniels jersey on. And I was just like,
oh, really?
That is so fire.
Yeah.
That just to see that, because it seemed like just not knowing anything about this lady is like she's probably been a Redskins turned Commanders fan for however long, and
there's no
to
like
have
new,
your team and your franchise like to really like you have days when you were good, but like not for a long time. And now to see it turn and to have faith and kind of
she bought that jersey.
No, she had.
That's a new one. She bought it.
It still had folds in it. Like she just bought it or just got it, and it was brand new. And I was like, I said to my girl, I said, look, that's like she spent $150+ on that jersey, she's rocking it.
She was smelling something at Tip Top. It wasn't the hash browns. Championship in her lifetime, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
If you've been a Commanders fan your whole life. Say you're one of those people that haven't been, a Commanders fan. I got a lot of friends that are like my age that are Commanders fans. You might say, how?
Yeah.
Well, because they grew up in D.C.
Yep.
or their parents like the Commanders or the Redskins at the time. So
and shout out to our old teammate. His dad just got his jersey retired. Darryl Green.
Really?
Yeah.
They just retired his jersey?
I think a few weeks ago, I believe so. They were doing a jersey retirement for him there.
God, it took them long enough.
It did. But
I guess
maybe
he did play till he was like 45.
But at least now you got fans paying attention, so got some recognition.
Tough two-game stretch coming up here for the Commies. Steelers at home on Sunday before heading to the Link on Thursday night.
That's a tough one. That's one I think they could stumble in, the Steelers game. And obviously it all kind of comes down to the Eagles and these guys in the East right now. So do I feel confident in beating the Commanders twice? No, but I feel confident that we can maybe beat them once. You know, I think they're a damn good team, and I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup, them and the Eagles. Like, honestly, I cannot wait to get into breaking that game down and, like, from every position group and seeing where we might have an edge or where it's going to be hell. And I say we, the Eagles.
Yeah, we. I'm an Eagles fan.
Look at you now.
I'm an Eagles fan now.
You know, so.
Yeah, facts. You were shitting all over the Kelly Greens, man.
That's true.
Going on?
Yeah,
don't remind people.
That hate.
Nah,
yeah, what's going on here?
I'm an Eagles fan.
Are you trolling, or is this?
I'm an Eagles fan.
You
now.
have no identity. So
my Jaguars are out and they're cooked for this year, and it's like officially halfway through the season. So I'm allowed as a fan to jump on to another bandwagon.
You're shitting on the Kelly Greens specifically, though.
Here's the rules.
It's a free shirt, Bo. You know how free shirts go. It's laying around the office. Like, what are you gonna say to that?
Real quick.
What are you gonna say to that?
I'll say this: the rule of, in my opinion, when it comes to having a side team, you have to pick it before the season, in the future. Just so you know.
But like, I feel like
that's like the bylaws of having a side team.
I know, but
I basically invented having.
I feel like honestly, if you work here and the Eagles aren't your main team, just by like association,
you have to be a little bit of a.
The Eagles are your side team because it kind of
team.
affects the mood and everything in here from the top down. So like, I might as well just.
I love the shirt.
Sweat the bets and sweat it with you guys from here on out.
Should we get into talking about your favorite team?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just say this. I know you're going to want me to talk about Nick Sirianni. I will. I just want to talk about the players on the field first. For a change. I thought the players on the field made some incredible plays. And I also thought the game was called really well. Like, I thought the game was called really well. Like, right down to, that first touchdown where they use motion. They go orbit motion, get the man ID, and they get Saquon on Savage. And he's basically, I think he ran what amounts to red zone corner or whatever it is in Madden. I run it all the time with Saquon. And it worked. And motion was up. They went at Darby a lot. I thought Fred Johnson had a rough day, like coming down to earth a little bit. There are times where like he's getting chip help and he's not on the same page with Chipper.
7 pressures allowed.
7 pressures allowed. Like, this was coming. Josh Hines-Allen is still a blue chip rusher. I don't care what it's been looking like this year for him or for the group, but definitely a good day at the office for the Eagles offense. There were stretches of this game where they ran the ball continually, and I thought that was like great to see. Playmakers made plays. That's what Nick Sirianni said at the podium after the game, and that was the theme of the game to me. Like, obviously the Devontae Smith catch, we can start with that one. Best catch of the year or no?
Sick. Yeah, it was sick.
I mean, maybe not the best of the week, but that's the whole
there were some amazing one-handed catches in the NFL last week.
Week 9 had 3 of them.
Garrett Wilson, it was sick, yeah. But that catch was like, dude, there was this angle from the corner of the end zone, and I'm like, God damn, Jalen launched that. Like, I think he overthrew him, and he hauled it in. That was phenomenal.
And he caught the point of the ball.
Bro,
he had to catch, like how some guys will,
Those 2 catches were good, but even though it wasn't like a controversial, like we knew it was a touchdown, the walk-off for the Rams last night was sick.
Oh, that was a great one-hander.
Like, that's
and considering who it was on.
That's what I'm saying. That was sick.
That was on Woolen, I think.
But to end the game like that?
Oh, walk-off, one-hander.
What?
But these guys, I mean, like, back in the day, how many dudes caught the ball with one hand? Was it just a thing where guys woke up one day and they were like, I'm going to start catching the ball with one hand? Now I feel like that's a totally plausible way to catch the ball.
Well, they practice in warm-ups. You see the warm-ups every time. They try
funny,
it.
you would get in trouble for that. I feel like in our days,
but it's part of the game.
Why are you trying to catch the ball with two hands? And now it's part
of the game.
It is part of the game.
And it should be part of the game because a lot of these guys, that's the only way they can catch some of these balls. And so, I just take my moment to be a fan. Like I said this in the live. I went live last night and talked about this. Like, yes, I like the Eagles more than other teams. I played there. I get the fandom thing, like, which to me makes a lot of sense. It kind of jives with who I am as a guy. I'm pretty miserable. I'm fatalistic. Like, like I'm an Eagles fan. And so I really get it. The Kelly Green's beautiful. I thought that was one of the most beautiful scenes in football. That catch, that one-hander, like the shot of the catch. And on top of it, the guy catching the football is one of my favorite players in the league. Like, and I'm talking about, I've said this a bunch on this show. When my kids ask, like, what about this guy? What about this guy? Mm-hmm. I want to be able to tell them about a guy that they can emulate. And I don't think either of my kids are going to be NFL wide receivers, okay?
Did you just say your son made a crazy ass?
Probably what your dad said about you, Crow.
He did. He's probably a tight end. My dad told me I should probably work on my guard sets in high school is what he told me. So for all the people that think it was just always smooth sailing, my own dad told me, hey, save those Ivy League letters and work on your guard sets. But no, I watched Devontae Smith, and I want to tell my kids, I'm like, man, he does everything right. Watch the way he operates. Watch the teammate he is. Watch how hard he plays. Look how tough he is. And so as a fan, watching that catch, I was blown away. This is one of my favorite players, man. And Saquon, I've never seen that in my life.
Bruh.
I've never seen it in my life.
How?
Didn't know that was a thing. Didn't know it was a thing.
It's just
I can't think of anything that rivaled that display of athleticism that I've ever seen. I mean, it was unbelievable.
But on top of it, it's like the mental thinking of it all. Like, it's just the spin move and just noticing someone about to come and take a real shot at you.
Right.
And you decide to turn and jump. And then the most impressive thing to me is, even though the two guys who kind of helped to get him down, they kind of friendly fired and like smashed into each other.
Yes.
Like they luckily got that.
It's kind of like Lamar when Lamar went to the sideline and hurdled two guys a week or two ago, and they ran into each other, and you're just like, dude, there's some guys on an NFL field that we are all different. Like, we are all three of us on this Zoom.
Yes.
As fucking standard big guy as we look,
totally,
like, we're all freaks.
Yep.
I mean, like, we're freaks athletically. Everybody in the NFL is the biggest freak in their high school gym.
Oh, yeah.
In the county.
Yeah.
Maybe in the state.
But he might be one of the biggest freaks in the league.
Bro, the delta between dudes, I mean, I've ran around on the field before up in New York chasing him. There's no angle. Like, I'm watching guys miss him. I felt like I was inside of a Madden commercial. I did. I felt like I was the cameraman in a Madden commercial where he was shaking all my teammates. And all the while, I couldn't figure out what the angle to run after him was. And I was running like with cement boots on. I was 33. But if I was 23, I think I'd be marveling at this guy. And
only person that could stop Saquon
so sick
is himself.
In
the ground.
Fumbling the ball on the ground. Which I didn't like. Listen, we talk about the brand.
That call was ass.
I'm a little bit more demonstrative about not liking that call. And I'm not, this isn't a homer take.
That was ass.
Because that's a slippery slope. If the ground can't cause a fumble, then the ground can't cause a fumble. I understand that the guy clipped his ankle and everything, and maybe you can argue the letter of the law. But to me, it would be better if we just decided, if we watch a play and say, hey, like, the guy didn't cause that fumble, the ground did, maybe we just don't call it. Like, that to me was a clear case of, in my opinion, the Eagles should retain possession. But it is what it is, and you end up in a ball game where, hey, they get their 2-point conversion, and you're turning to me on the couch. I mean, like, I'm watching the other games because I think I have this game in hand. I have a big-ass teaser with the Bills and the Eagles.
Grabbed me by my chest when you go, look. when they ran that in, and you were like, does that count? And you were like, look. And I looked up, and I was like, oh,
that was
my
in cruise.
God.
Like 2 minutes earlier, you go, watch this. Aren't they? Look out, because they scored their first touchdown. And it was one of those things, very Eagles, because I feel like Eagles fans, the thing I just talked about, that like the feeling that it's all going to go wrong.
It happened.
And we ended up in a situation, at the end of the game, where they're driving for the lead, and last year's team, although they won a lot of close games, down the stretch, they lose that game. The first 3 weeks of the season, if that happens, they lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's happened? The defense has come together. And I'm not saying they're world beaters. I still think they could use a pass rusher. I still think, like, in an ideal world, like, they could still use a pass rusher. But Cooper DeJean joining this team healthy at some point early in the season, like in camp, he didn't get all his reps, but like being able to fully onboard, the biggest difference in this team's performance today and the first 3 weeks of the season is this rookie. And, you know, like on the last drive, it's Nakobe Dean who's come on in a big way. Like Nakobe Dean, I'm very happy for as a guy, as a high draft pick who kind of like started slow for a year and a half. I definitely feel for this dude, especially in a city like Philly, where like, hey, I don't know what that's like. St. Louis was a very easy market to play in. Nakobe Dean, there's a lot of expectation. And, you know, for him to come on and make some of the plays he's made this year, I think Vic Fangio has been a good thing for him. And I think he's playing more confident. You don't throw that 50-50 ball to that running back. And so, yeah, like the defense has become a strength of this team. You know, Cooper DeJean on 4th and short, that's his second 4th and short play that he's made in a couple weeks. And these are plays that turn the game. Yep. And, you know, Lawrence on the sidelines turned into somebody saying, I thought Parker Washington was going to block.
Yeah. Like
so obviously maybe it was an ME or something like that, or just poor execution on the pick. But either way, DeJean making that play. And then I would shout out Sweaty J, Josh Sweat, attacking the weakness. You know, you lose Cam Robinson, and then they're running games over there. Sweat's kicking that tackle's ass. Zach Bond is truly the underrated signing of the year. You know what I mean? Every year there's one of those. And then, you know, the entire defense just playing better. So I think they're a much more complete team. And then now let's talk about Nick Sirianni. I'm not going to kill the guy, okay? Because I don't want to be the guy in Philly media, because, you know, I get aggregated a lot more in Philly media than I would otherwise. That's like, you know, just negative railing on the coach every week. But he has to be better. I mean, how many times can we say this? I would have took the points to get it to 7.
Does he not like the kicker?
No, Jake Elliott's great. Jake Elliott's great, and he can kick.
He's amazing.
So, but I would have gone up 17, because guess what? Nobody's going to remember that I didn't go for 2. There has to be a little bit of self-preservationist in him. You know, and at least in this way, he truly is trying to do what he thinks is the right thing for the team.
Yeah.
He gets caught up in the emotions. I think he's too emotional. That, to me, is like the key, is like, we all have emotions here, and I'm not saying coaches can't have emotions, but I go through emotional swings in a week, in a day. Like, fuck, dude, I'm moody motherfucker. I get excited about things. I get like, Nick Sirianni can't be moody. He can't ride the wave. He can't be the one over there, because they line up to say, hey, let's see if we can get them off sides. They don't jump. Then they go to the sideline and they kick the extra point, and you're like, oh, crisis averted. But I saw a little yellow flag, and all of a sudden I'm watching Nick Sirianni's face, and it's like, like I got to do it. And he's on the headset with somebody. I don't know if it's somebody upstairs talking about analytics or whatever. I understand 85% tush push. But what I don't understand is, why take the risk on the other 15% in a situation where you have control of the game? Like I'm all about analytics, but what analytics don't tell you is what's going on in the game. And to me, if you kick that ball and go up 17, if they come back and win, it's not going to be your ass. It's going to be the guys on the field. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, we're counting points that you leave out there. We're counting points when it's 6-point game and you could kick it to go to 9, and you don't. And on 4th and inches, in my opinion, get the ball in your best player's fucking hands. It's not the quarterback. No offense, it's the running back. And I know they're looking to him in the flat, but also realize that everybody else in the stadium knows that if you drop back to pass, the first read's going to be him. So who's the second read? Mm-hmm. So the execution and quite frankly, the riding of the emotional wave. You know, to me, he's too emotional. And that would be my big – I like the emotion. When they went up early, a couple scores, and he's running up and down the sidelines, I like that. But it was also like, oh shit, he's feeling himself. Mm-hmm. And to me, you got to leave that shit at the door. It's not about the theme of your day making decisions. It's about winning the damn game. Like, don't get caught up in the like, this would be, what a call if I do this. Fuck that. Kick the extra point. You're kicking these guys' asses. Yep. Asses.
If I'm a coach, I'm watching this, and maybe later on in the season, you know what I do?
What?
Every time the Eagles on an extra point line up to kick a field goal, just jump off sides and dare them to go for two.
Because the tush push,
it's not automatic.
No, it's not. Tush push last year compared to this year is like Major League 3 to Major League 4. Mm-hmm. The movies. Back to the minors. Tush push this year is like Major League Back to the Minors, which many of you have not seen. But as an avid fan of Major Leagues 1 through 3, when I went to the maybe 1998, I went to the fucking theater, and I still want my money back for that movie. It wasn't even my money; it was my parents' money. I want it back. The movie was so bad, and I'm not saying Tush Push now is that bad, but it looks like a lot of effort compared to last year. It does. So we don't need to go off about this thing, but
all I want to say though, Chris, is can you imagine like Sirianni is under fire right now, and they've been 4-0 despite some of these decisions. What would it look like? Just imagine, picture a world in which they didn't win some of these close games where points were left on the board.
That's exactly right.
That's all I'm saying. Like winning heals a lot of wounds, but the fact that like this is still such a glaringly obvious issue in wins, it's pretty telling.
I've never seen a team.
It's just frustrating.
I've never seen a team look so good, Bo, where it's like you see all those catches, you see all those big plays, all those defenders stepping up. You kick a team's ass for 50 minutes of the game. Or whatever it is, 45 minutes, and at the end of the game, you're talking about the coach, like the fan base is calling for the coach's head on the heels of a 4-game win streak on a team.
Part of that is Philly, which we love, but part of it is just it's frustrating. Like, let's stop thinking so hard about all this.
No need to overthink it. Your team's pretty good now. Like you don't need to steal points. You don't need to steal, anything. You can pay for it all. It's fine. Just do it the standard way. And there's going to be times to be aggressive, for sure. But, again.
You don't got to force it. Like, you don't, if it's there, then take it. Don't force the tush push when it's clearly not working. Maybe give the ball to your all-world running back who's backwards hurdling people.
Yeah. Or we can go up, like to Chris's point, you can go up 2 possessions with a field goal, and you're already in control of the game. It just makes a lot more sense to go that way.
No question. Great. So I'm not going to freak out. The other thing I want to say is about because the main thing is the players are playing well and the calls are good. Like Vic's finding his way.
Yeah.
Like they're more aggressive. Cooper's helped on defense, but it's not it. The pass rush is getting there, which goes hand in hand. And then on top of that, on offense, you're calling a hell of a game. I know it's the Jags, but
Yeah.
Oh,
and you scored in the first quarter. What a fucking treat.
With you.
And the young players.
Who?
The Bengals starting to
The Bengals are starting to stink. You're welcome to get the Bengals and put them over somewhere, but it smells like sashimi in here. The one thing I thought was noteworthy is Christian Kirk was supposedly on the blocks, but they were working a deal out to send him to Pittsburgh, and then he got hurt. So just notable for the other team playing in this game is number one, they don't get to cash in on some of that capital. Number two, the Steelers don't get the receiver that they've been desperately after for the better part of the year.
And last point about the Eagles is you talked about the offense, the calls are good, the defense is coming together, and they're young. I mean, you mentioned about Cooper DeJean, but Nakobe Dean's playing well. Isaiah Rodgers had a good game yesterday.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell is looking just
a
about all world,
dog.
right?
For Howie Roseman to find DeJean and Mitchell, he every once in a while he'll do this thing where it's like, yeah, he'll fuck some things up, shoot or shoot, but as long as you keep hitting your shots every once in a while, I mean
he hits a lot more than he misses.
He hits a lot more than he misses, and I think this draft is evidence of that with those two guys. I don't care what happens the rest of the draft. I know mid-round picks are valuable, late-round picks are valuable, but if you hit on 2 DBs off the season last year that they had, that's surgical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're already guys that can help. So
he's walking around the facility saying, I'm surgical with this
bitch. Jake. Jake. We did have a guy named Jake that used to work for the Eagles too.
Then he
used to say that, but now he can't anymore.
He used to get wet.
I didn't know you like to get wet.
Wet. PCP, Jake.
That's PCP.
Angel dust. This is galaxy gas.
Nate and I were talking about that movie the other day. We were like, imagine if that was like a real thing, and you go to work one day and you're like, "Oh, I can't wait to learn from you. You're amazing." And then he makes you smoke PCP.
Oh,
and it just reveal on your first day.
Oh, but he also took me to meet. He also took me to meet Snoop Dogg in a wheelchair.
Right.
Like, what a day. So honestly, it's a give and a take working in LAPD or whatever it was. The last thing I'll say is this, and I know we're talking about Nick Sirianni as if I were agnostic and I was just like an NFL fan, I'd be really entertained by Nick Sirianni. He is an entertaining person. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't mean this to be like, but it looks like sometimes when I watch him emote on the sideline and just kind of like, he looks like they walked into the link in the stands and they were like, how many Miller Lights have you had? Delco guy, get down here and coach the team. And he's coaching his heart out. You know, he's trying to do all the right stuff. He's a big emotions guy. We got to get the emotions under control.
He won a sweepstake. He sent in, sent in a bunch of.
He sent in a video
cereal box tops.
I don't want.
And got picked.
Yeah,
and he's just killing it, keeping the job.
So I don't want Eagles fans to take this the wrong way because I think the world of you. And I think if I hung out with Nick Sirianni, which I have, he's a fucking cool ass guy. I mean, the players like Nick Sirianni. There's the reason he's an NFL coach. He is perfect for the fan base in a way that like he is the most. Pick any other NFL coach who fits the fan base the most, like could be one of them more than Nick Sirianni. And I think that creates some tension too. It's like, I know you, man.
Yeah.
You're like all my boys from high school. Like you shouldn't be out here coaching this team. Like I know five
like
Nick
all
Sirianni.
the stuff you don't like about yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Like but I like Nick. I hope he can get this shit under control because after a loss, to Beau's point, if they had lost this game, if Nakobe Dean doesn't make that play, we're having a totally different conversation, and maybe we should be having that conversation, but I'm not going to have it unless we have to. I'm just not. I'm not going to be the one to have that conversation on this show. I'm not going to be I'm just not going to be the pitchfork guy. You know, I'm rooting for the team.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A team that's.
Wait, hey Chris, did you play in the Kelly Greens ever, Chris?
I did not, unfortunately.
I didn't either.
Oh,
it really bothers me.
No Kelly Greens for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
but I did. You know, I did
play in the Midnight Green at all.
Did you?
So,
the Midnight was
shit,
great,
my boy.
And he liked playing in the all black because it was slimming, and he liked that. He used to be like, "Check this shit out, bro. Look at me today."
Feeling myself. And then we had the all whites every now and then. I really, really hated myself.
I just don't like the all whites. But I'll tell you what was a sweet throwback I used to get to wear was the damn Rams throwback. I would put that up there. The old, the Nolan Cromwells, the Eric Dickersons back in the day. Anyways,
bring back Color Rush.
I know you've been saying that.
I can't wait.
You actually posted, and I didn't interact with the tweet because I can't support the tweet. You're gonna be like, why? You look at my tweets, but you know, it was a 4-box of pictures of like just the most hideous Color Rush.
Fire one.
That Jacksonville fucking mustard
is so great.
You think it's great?
I love it. I don't know why.
You're the one who, when the Packers came out, what did I say? When the Packers came out, I said I shouldn't have bet the Packers.
No, amazing.
Because they're wearing these all green.
The only thing they just messed up by one step could have made it better if they made those helmets like a big piece of cheese, put some holes on it. It would have been so fire.
Bro,
they missed
I like
the
your
ball.
cheese idea, but I don't think they could. You know who could do like if a college team was the Packers, like the Oregon had like a bunch of swaggy looks, then you could do like a cheese top.
Yeah.
But you can't do a cheese top with that classic uniform.
And if they did the cheese top, then the Lions have to do what the fan did in the stands and wear greater helmets.
Oh, that was sick.
That was great. That That's clever. I like that.
That was sick. He had real graters on his helmet.
A big
He had
grater, a big
like
cheese
a
grater.
cheese
Yeah, but
head,
the cheese head.
but it was a grater.
cheese grater.
Like
No,
a
I
silver
understand.
cheese.
Was
Yeah.
it a real grater?
Oh,
No. It was like a foam.
No, I was gonna say that's kind of dangerous.
Yeah. I don't think he would have been allowed in the
You
stadium.
think there's any Green Bay fan that has a real piece of
Look at
cheese?
this guy, dude.
Yeah,
He's so proud of himself.
You think there's
And
any
he
Green
should
Bay
be.
fan
Show this guy.
with a real piece of cheese on their head that made one of those?
Maybe.
Just a big block of nasty
Munster. Look at that guy. That guy has enjoyed some cheese.
Swiss.
The irony is, I feel like that guy likes cheese, and he's got a rail against cheese. You know
He's
what I'm
drinking a
saying?
Blue Moon.
We
too.
all like
Shout out
cheese.
to Blue Moon.
Look at this guy.
Blue Moon
Oh
from
man,
a
he's
can.
doing a blue moon.
from a can.
And
No,
he's right
That's
behind
a meal, brother.
He's right behind a Packer wearing a cheese head.
Yep.
Like that guy doesn't know.
He needs to go
That's like
down
where
there
the
and-
shark is behind
Oh, yeah.
the fish or whatever. Doesn't even
or
know.
whatever.
Dun-dun.
That whole situation. All right, so next.
Cowboys.
Next.
Cowboys and Falcons.
Oh,
Cowboys they're
Should've-
cooked.
You should have. I was about to say, should have made room for them on that grill.
Yeah. We
Oh,
need
for
to put
sure.
a saddle
They're-
on the grill.
Joe Burrow just.
No, they're mega cooked, dude. They're
Joe
new.
Burrow just
They're like
stepped
when you
on
get
top of
drunk.
the Cowboys.
They're
They
like when you
fucking
get
Cowboys
drunk
are like
suck.
when you get drunk and put a pizza in the oven and then just pass
and
out all
forget and nearly
The
burn the
black
house down.
burnt pizza.
Uh-huh.
You've taken a bite. You've taken a bite of one of those before, just to try it. I know you have, Bo.
Hey, Max, you just ate
Yeah, you ate like raw, like gas
off of a
station
grill.
sushi. That's
Like
just
you
been-
can't say shit, dude.
that grill, by the way. Have you washed that grill?
No, yeah, not a
That thing's had hot dogs.
Oh
sitting
my
on it.
god! Oh my god! Nate ate a piece of sushi. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna get E. coli. I'm gonna be pissing out of my ass. Oh,
Just remember this. Yeah.
Remember it tonight.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
yeah, for real. Just remember tonight when you're praying to the porcelain gods. That's the Bengals, bro. That's for talking bad about the Bengals.
Yeah.
What if the Bengals attack you in your system tonight?
Ooh.
There's just a bunch of Bengals with a Joe Burrow head going.
Hey, we're not on the Bengals yet.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna talk about the Bengals in a little bit.
Let's talk about the Falcons, okay? Right off the bat, I thought it was a thing of beauty at the end of the game. They're up a score. They got to go get more points to put this team away, and they do. Kirk, the mobility on that play when he hit Bijan Robinson starts out to the flat, comes back. Kendricks looks like he's running in cement after him. Bijan sidestepping a couple linemen. He was like Mike Vick in there for a second, okay? You know, the Achilles is getting better. I thought this was a really gutsy performance from them. It wasn't pretty the whole time. I mean, they lost Drake London early. They were able to run the ball. Like, we knew they'd be able to run the ball. I think Bijan Robinson's great, obviously. But the thing I loved about the end of that drive was 5 straight runs to ice it. And I thought the touchdown to put them up 2 scores was emblematic of the whole thing. And I mean that for the Cowboys. Like, it just looked like, it looked like they were getting strangled for 4 yards. It just looked like the Cowboys had submitted. And I'm not saying guys were giving up, but it was one of those plays where the pile's being pushed. And I think I'm forgetting the guy's damn name just because we talk about so many guards and they all look the same to me.
Chris Lindstrom.
Lindstrom, who's great. He's great.
you're
But he
talking about?
jumped on the pile the last play. And, Dallas guys are standing around that pile. And that's one of the worst things when the pile's moving towards the goal line. And as a defender, you'd have to get into the end zone to jump on the pile because you can't push it into the end zone. So you just got to stand around and watch it. And that's kind of like what happened at the end of that game. And it just like the ball slowly went in the end zone. It was like, hey, Dallas, that's a metaphor for your season. It's just the inevitability of the suck for the Cowboys. Like, honestly, we came into the season and said they're probably going to suck. And surprise, surprise, they suck. Star on your helmet can't save you from sucking. That's a wild thing to me, like how built in it is into our psyche because of how much they're on TV that they're going to be competitive every year. They're just not. If you look at that football team, you take the star off their helmet, who are they? Like, I don't know. There's probably a comp for a team out there, and it's not a good team. But like when
Mid-State Tennessee.
I'm talking about a pro team. Like who do you think is the closest team to the Cowboys in the NFL?
Right now,
Like in general.
the Panthers.
Jags.
I think the Jags might be better.
Oh,
but yeah,
Jags
I agree with you. That's a
overpaid?
good
Yeah.
call.
Young quarterback, overpaid. decent
that is a good
wide
one.
receivers. They don't ever play really that good.
Dak's not young
High
anymore.
expectations That never.
Their defense is just undisciplined too, and they miss tackles
Totally.
And they still like little things. They're not terrible, but it's just like they're playing terrible, and it's just top to bottom. Like it just.
Bro, the minute Dak said "jump off now," I was like, "Bro, there's gonna be another meme."
And then you get caught saying we fucking suck.
There was gonna be a bookend. That's one bookend to the season. The other is we fucking suck, and it's already here. And for you to say that out loud, but
don't do that after you got hurt either. Like that's some.
Well, that's what the NBA mouth is for. Like doing the NBA mouth. Like you got to turn to Cooper Rush and be like, "We fucking suck." Like that. But you can't be like on the sideline with a million cameras. Now I'm not criticizing because he's telling the truth. I'm not going to criticize the guy when he said "jump off now," I was like, "Please, bro, please."
But also, like,
off,
okay.
dude, like everybody's off. Okay,
There's no one that loves shitting on the Cowboys more than me. But like, we're obviously missing context of that quote, but it's just so fucking great that your franchise quarterback is sitting there watching you play after being injured and gets caught with the lip sync police saying like, "We fucking suck."
That was an easy
that's
one
just
too.
So good. No, I know. Everyone knew exactly what he was saying. But it's
Jump
great.
balls.
I love shitting on the Cowboys, but I've been high on the Falcons ever since Monday Night Football against the Eagles at the Link. Falcons are a good team, man.
Well, here's what's impressive about the Falcons: the target shares. Okay, like last year they didn't spread the ball around. They didn't have the quarterback to do it. Like we said all last year, imagine if they got a real quarterback in here. And I can remember the first half of the year arguing with fucking Falcons fans. You're hating on Desmond Ridder. No, you just need somebody in here that can distribute the football, and that's what's happening. Drake London, 75 targets. Mooney, 70. Bijan, 45. McLeod, 45. Pitts, 44.
Chris,
so what?
You want to know who that is great for? This target share and the way that the Falcons are winning these games. You want to know who that is going to help turn into a great player? Penix, dude. I'm telling you, the way that the Falcons are winning these games and how Kirk is playing, distributing the ball, they're running the ball, they're playing pretty solid team football. Like this might help him develop. I'm just saying, like I was kind of shitting on the Falcons and their decision to draft him just because it's like, what's the point? But like they're winning the right way, and maybe they can actually develop this talented young player. He can follow this mold a little bit, and they can have, kind of a franchise player going forward.
I understood the draft pick because, I mean, even now, you might say, hey, one more rusher and we're not worried about this team the way because I worry about the pass rush. And they lost Grady Jarrett yesterday. They had multi-sack game. They had a multi-sack game for the first time since like week 1. PFF credited them with 3 sacks. I also read this is their first game with 2 sacks. So I don't know. You tell me, but it's been a long time since they had 2 sacks in a game. And, you lose half that production to an Achilles. And Grady Jarrett, first off, feel terrible for the guy because I really am a big fan of his. And, like, that's, as an older player, is a tough one. But on top of that, they just don't have the horses on the defensive line. And, like, the only thing, and I'm pro Penix, but the only devil's advocate thing is, like, say you had that one, or, you could have drafted a pass rusher. Now, I don't know who that pass rusher would be because it's not like everybody knew that Jared Verse was going to be the best one out of them, at least as it stands now. You could have picked the wrong one. So I don't know. Like, I look at this team and I say they're probably not a first-round pick away. So I like thinking to the future with the Penix thing. And to your point, like, he's learning behind a good quarterback in a good offense. And, I think I watched Kirk Cousins sit down with Kyle Pitts on a podcast a couple weeks ago. And he was talking about, like, not giving critics any power. People like us. Like, we're here, we're paying the bills, we're criticizing players, but, like, I don't expect the players to care what we have to say. In fact, you shouldn't. And I think for somebody like Kyle Pitts, who's gone through a lot in his young career as far as expectations and usage and maybe not be catching the ball from the right guys, and then to have a game like he had the last couple weeks against the Bucs, like, I don't think it's a coincidence that Kirk Cousins being in the building helps him be more confident. Not only get him the ball, get these guys the ball. Like, look what he's doing for Mooney. People were writing off Mooney. Like, people I respect were really dismissive of the Mooney thing. And I didn't see it that way. This guy has been a revelation for them. And I can guarantee you a lot of the confidence that comes from playing this offense is not just playing in a good offense with a good quarterback, but it's also having a guy who's like older and can talk to you, like can sit down with you. The conversation he had with Kyle Pitts was awesome. Like I'm watching him talk to Kyle Pitts, and I'm like, this is what every player in the NFL needs. They need a vet, you know, and in a league where guys are increasingly younger because of the way we pay and don't pay guys, and you know, it's hard to keep vets around and that sort of thing. Like having a Kirk Cousins in the building helps everybody.
Yep.
He has truly become like one of the ultimate locker room guys late in his career.
I love it.
And I love that for him. And I love that for Kyle Pitts. And I love that for this team. So, you know, the pass rush, that's a question. You know, to me, you already had your chance. You went out and tried to get Judon, and you did. And it hasn't worked out to be the game-changing move that you thought it would. So I don't know if you can go out and do another one.
Last ditch effort this week.
I don't know, bro. Like Falcons fans will probably tell me, but I do think if they can find a way to manufacture more pressure, they are a dangerous team. But until they do, I kind of worry about them in the playoffs. And I think that's fair to say. I don't think we're hating.
Yeah.
Like they're a 6-win team. It's a good team. They get in the playoffs, you got to be able to rush the passer. And they lost Grady Jarrett, so that's a big deal. As for the Dallas Cowboys, 10 men on the field on a 3rd and 4 in the red zone early. Dan Orlovsky pointed that out this morning, like totally undisciplined. Then you have 12 men on the field on a 4th and 1. By the way, with Lamb in the backfield in a game where Dowdle's going for 6-2 a pop, so you got to punt. You got 4 turnovers on downs. One resulted in a smashed tablet after the Lamb end around. You got the worst fake punt I've ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Like, that was terrible. Dak hurt his hamstring, admits they suck. He's out for a couple weeks. His average depth of target in this game was 4.3 compared to 8.9 across 2023. They are not the same team. They sent Zeke home. Zeke was not going to be a big part of this team, and I hope he's good, man, because that's kind of like I wonder if there's something more going on there. Because like Zeke's been a pretty upstanding citizen as a football player for most of his career, you know, like and so I don't know what's happening there. But overall, this is not a good football team, and worse yet, it feels like a dumpster fire. Like it kind of feels like a divided deal where we've seen shit on the sideline. We've seen Micah and Diggs like
how about that?
Right? Not put Dak in the top 10.
Don't put Dak in the top 10.
Put Kirk in the top 10.
Did he put Kirk in the top 10?
Yeah. At the end, they were like, oh, and
I think I don't know if he did, and then to get a ball thrown on your head to start the game, get dunked on by the quarterback you left off that list, that is just pure.
That was poetry.
It's poetry. And even more perfect for Micah Parsons. He got the clip on his podcast, so I can't wait to see what they say this week.
So the question is, do you just – I mean, I know you're the Cowboys, but you got to get over yourselves and you got to sell.
Yeah.
Like you got to get over your fucking selves and you got to sell. And to me – it starts with the conversation around Micah Parsons. The rumblings are kind of like, hey, you know, it's not as good as it seems there. Like I've been told that a lot of times when I praise Micah Parsons, hey, well, you know, it's not working out there in the locker room, like whatever. And that's a lot of fan theory, and I think reading between the lines. But either way, he's somebody you can get something for, absolutely. He's a game-changing player for sure. Maybe he's not part of the maybe it's somebody else you try to get some capital for. Maybe Zach Martin would be a guy. Zach Martin's talking about retiring, right? Who needs a guard in the NFL right now? There's a couple teams that could really use one in the state of Texas.
Houston.
So I look at this group and I say Chicago for sure. For sure. But if I'm Zach Martin, I want to go somewhere where I can win right now, and I think Houston might be that team. You know, and they're on the other side of the conference. You know, so I think there are some chances to sell a couple of your pieces, and you have to. And I know, Jerry, that's kind of an admission that feels like kind of icky to somebody with a big ego. But fuck, dude, you're just going to keep watching the same bullshit.
I mean,
go ahead, Bo.
Go ahead, Nate. No,
I was just going to say, I'm having flashbacks to having us on a drunk night in Buffalo, sitting on the porch, talking.
This is funny.
And we're going through the BetMGM future bets, and I'm just looking at the most absurd odds, and I'm looking in the section where it's like 100,000 to 1 odds, And one of them I said out loud to you, and I laughed. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny just to bet on the Cowboys' downfall? They have a bet right here for them to lose all of their home
You did say that.
games.
That's incredible. And we all talked you down.
And they have.
We were all like, dude, I don't know if they're going to be good, but they're going to win at home, bro.
And they have a few. They have enough home games left. But the fact that they're 0-3 at home and they just might have lost Dak for a few more weeks, the team is not looking like they're coming together anytime soon. Like that bet would have been looking real good.
I think they get the Eagles, the Texans.
They got the Giants at home.
The Bengals, and the Bucks. So the Giants game is going to be enormous. Jerry, I said this on the
Commanders sit there. They still might not beat. They might not be able to beat Mariota.
I said this on the gambling show last week. I fucked it up because I thought it was the whole season, but they have only led at home for like
2 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's what I said.
2 minutes and 15 seconds. They were down. It
was the opening.
Field goal.
Yep, opening drive of the Lions game.
There's a fan theory on Detroit's Reddit about the curse of Dan Campbell. He got jobbed in Jerry's world, and since then they haven't won at home. Okay, and I'm taking it a step further. They have led for 2 minutes at home since that Dan Campbell debacle in Big D, and before that game, I think they were undefeated at home last year. So something. I mean, obviously the team got worse, but like. That is a house of horrors, and it's the very thing I'm talking about when, like, you're a bad team and things aren't going well. Like when Minnesota comes off a 2-game losing streak, comes home, they find themselves down to Joe Flacco and the Colts as 5.5-point favorites. That if it's not Minnesota, those fans are getting a little ornery in that situation. And I think that playing in Dallas right now is probably the last place these guys want to be. I feel like a road trip is right where they want to be. Because playing in that fucking building in front of those fans who are acutely aware of every fucking thing that you've done wrong all season long makes it harder to be a Cowboy at home. And for Jerry,
I think that there's no world in which they do a culture change though of any sorts at Jerry World. Like they're so pot committed to everything's bigger in Texas, Jerry World. We have the tours, we have all the stuff, and they're catching a lot of.
They need a football change.
For it now.
They need a football change.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's what they missed. They missed Dan Quinn.
They're not going to do it though.
They missed Dan Quinn. Okay, you're seeing how important Dan Quinn was to that group. You've heard guys talk about that. They're missing Dan Quinn. They're missing certain pieces on the field. But additionally, I think that things run its course on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
I do. And to me. Yeah. And I told you I'm not going to do this with the Eagles because they just won a game, okay? The Cowboys are losing games. They're out of it, in my opinion. And Mike McCarthy, what could Mike McCarthy do at the end of the season where you're not going to let him go? You at the very least, he needs to be the first one to go in the offseason so that you get a head start on the next coach. And even better would be at some point soon, make a change, a spark, find anything you can because what you're doing right now is the definition of insanity.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up, and I totally agree. Coming back to your original question of who is a good comp for the Cowboys right now, it's the Saints. I think they're the same team. We saw the decision the Saints made this morning.
Yeah.
So I think they're in really similar spots.
And honestly, I don't know. You know, Jerry after the game said something like he's got fire in his belly, like Mike McCarthy or something. Yeah, well, that might be acid reflux because my boy he's stressing, bro.
It might be some bad sushi.
Could be some bad sushi. You need to watch out. You get Mike McCarthy.
No, just about 10 minutes ago, I was kind of sweating under this shirt, but I'm good now.
Can I say this? One thing nice about the Cowboys. I'm going to do my one thing nice about the Cowboys. That guy Overshown's a good player.
Oh, nice.
He's a really good player. I like him. I can't wait to watch him for years to come. The question is that defense going to be good around him? And my last question for the Cowboys is to Mike Zimmer. If everybody gets fired, do you have anything to do with that? Because the last stop you were at, you said that was the players that got you fired. What's it going to be this time?
Ownership.
Because this defense isn't playing like the Dallas defense I watched last year.
What if Jerry Jones's kids are like football savants? And when the team gets passed down to them, the Cowboys are like back to, everything, and they're just like geniuses sitting there. But Jerry Jones just doesn't he won't listen to anybody.
Go
else
nepotism.
Yeah,
I mean, like maybe he could just have this thing as gridlocked as people think he does. But I also know that he's not as involved as in the past too. So part of it is just a football problem where they just can't get it right. And to me, it is a big-ass distraction down there. distractions are real in the NFL. Some people are wrong about what's distracting and what's not. Like, fans don't have a really good barometer for that. I don't blame you. I'll tell you what's distracting. Having people in your building every day, like you talked about, like coming home, you're Brian Anger, you got a fucking, or not Brian Anger, what the fuck is the kicker's name?
Brandon Aubrey.
Brandon Aubrey.
Yep.
Brandon Aubrey, you got jury duty. You drive 2 hours to the practice field. You can't get on the field because there's high schoolers there. You're walking through a fucking fish tank to get out to the field. There's spinning trucks on platforms. There's cheerleaders dancing everywhere. The stadium's huge.
There's a light flying in at you from the
fucking
blinding everybody.
It's like the death ray. It's like solar death ray.
I love the death ray.
You saw that thing on Instagram?
I sent it to you.
Guy built the solar death ray out of inside of a TV.
We could do that. We should do that.
We just need a big old TV.
We got to find a big
The guy
TV.
was the rock lit on fire. He lit a rock
What
on
did I
fire.
tell you? I told you. I said that. I was like, Chris, you would like this. You were like, when I told you about it, you were like, sounds like some meth head stuff.
It does sound like it still sounds like some meth head stuff.
But it's interesting, right?
Yeah,
Seeing
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Let's head NFC West, going all the way. NFC West. We got Bears and Cardinals. The Bears, they're on the road, and you know the Bears' record on
Not
the road.
not to start shit, but like we were getting a little out over our skis, weren't we? Mm-hmm. Chicago. I was mentioned like a month ago, and there was like a 2-page list of media personalities that should be sorry for like yada yada yada. And I was on that list, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get into a thing with this fan base. But like, if you're going to ride the wave after a big win like Jacksonville and London, let's talk about it now. We're like, are we gonna? And I'm not one that I'm the same. I'm the same guy after that win. Hey, that's good, but it was the Jags. Hey, this is bad. That doesn't mean you haven't found your quarterback. Okay, because I honestly think I still watch him operate, and I think like, hey, you got a starter there. You know what I mean? And you know the difference between a starter and a franchise quarterback is how you build around him, in my opinion. And I think honestly, watching him make some of the throws he made yesterday, even with a lot of the bad ones, there's somebody in there that can lead a franchise. Mm-hmm. But he's not ready to do it. This team's not ready. When DJ Moore walks off the field in the middle of a play, if you don't think that's a sign that something's wrong in that locker room, and you could look at me and be like, hey, you're trying to divide a locker room, or you're trying to cast aspersions or whatever the fuck, or hey, you're starting shit. I'm not starting shit. I didn't walk off the field in the middle of a play. That was DJ Moore.
And that was his second one in 12 hours because he went on the radio show and was asked and said, I want to say no.
Tyreek Stevenson pulls himself out of practice this week after that. That was what was reported, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to make sure I'm not slandering these guys.
After he found out he wasn't starting.
I just want to make sure it's not me and I'm not making shit up. The vibe is not good in that locker room. And that is a bigger problem than the development of the quarterback and how you looked yesterday. Like, you're going to lose games. You got a rookie quarterback. Some of us knew this was going to be a process, okay? Maybe you didn't. Some of us did. The stuff with the locker room, though, is a problem, okay? Like, the DJ Moore walking off the field, the Stevenson stuff during the week is a fucking problem. You know it. I know it. And Matt Eberflus, what's the stat about on the road? Because I had heard
they're winless on Sundays under Matt Eberflus.
Yeah,
3-18 after
on the
yesterday.
road.
On the road. Yeah. Winless on Sundays on the road. 3-18. Their only wins were 2 Thursdays and a Monday, I believe. And they were against the quarterbacks they played. Were
you mean to tell? And these are all road games.
Yes, yeah, all road games.
So my question is a very fair fucking question, mind you. Because with sample size that big on the road, it can't be the players, because there's too many damn players who've been in and out of that building. Okay, it can't be. It's way different than the home games for some reason. This is not. It's not out of question to ask, what the fuck are they doing on Saturday night on this coaching staff? I'm not insinuating they're out till 3 a.m. But what I'm saying is, like, maybe they're not running their damn meetings right. Maybe they're not flying out at the right time. Maybe they're not I don't know what it is, but that is way too much of a trend to just be like, yeah, it's just random. I mean, like, they just haven't played well on the road. Like, what is that, bro? That's bad.
And 14 wins with Matty Eberflus as the head coach. These are the quarterbacks they played in those 14 games. Trey Lance in the monsoon, where Justin Fields has had the sliding gif. Davis Mills, Mac Jones, and Bailey Zappi, same game. Sam Howell, Brian Hoyer, Bryce Young, Josh Dobbs, Jared Goff in the cold, Kyler Murray, Desmond Ridder, Will Levis, Rams without Puka and Cooper, Andy Dalton, Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, shit. Look at and a couple of those are high win probability games, like the Detroit one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked about last year, right?
Yep.
There's a few of these that, like, I looked at, like, there were 4 games that I think they were over 90% win probability, including the Washington game that they lost at the end of the game, and we're over here mugging up the fucking fans. You know, like, I don't know what's going on with that locker room, but those things are things you got to get nipped in the bud. And if DJ Moore doesn't want to be there, I'd fucking trade him. Because that quarterback's not going anywhere. If he doesn't like the quarterback,
you're making a good point about the coaching, especially.
Well, can I finish? Can I do this one? Can I do this one? Because I just thought of it. If DJ Moore doesn't want to be there and he doesn't like the quarterback, who's going first? And I was pro Fields. I was the one that was like, keep Fields. But if this is what we're doing, and I felt like maybe DJ Moore was pro Fields, like reading between the lines last year, right? Then here's the fucking door, dude. Like, they're having trouble getting him the ball anyways. It feels like Roma Dunze and him are on the best page out of 3 wide receivers. And by the way, this is from Rich Habar. I might be messing up the pronunciation of his name, and I'm so sorry if I am, but I do follow him on Twitter. He's got good Twitter. Highest inaccurate target rates for players with 25-plus targets. Adunze's number 6, Keenan Allen's number 8, DJ Moore's number 10. You're not even getting missed the most out of the 3 of y'all. How are you the one walking off the field? Okay? And I think that also says something about, like, Caleb Williams, which is the guy's not Superman yet. But when he's locked in the middle of the field, underneath, that sort of stuff, he fucking bro.
All 3 of his receivers are on that list?
On that list.
That's bad.
So it's not good. So all I'm saying is I think you got a guy in Caleb Williams. I like him. I do. But this was going to be a process, and some of the people that just put the cart before the horse with this stuff. And bro, you just said when I had them at 9 wins in the offseason, you'd have thought I punched a baby on the live stream the way some of y'all reacted. So just for me, the one thing that's inexcusable is, like, if one of your veterans who you brought here a couple years ago or last year, whatever, 2 years ago, DJ Moore, doesn't want to be there, then you as a head coach now have to make a decision. You as the GM, Ryan Poles, Ian Yates-Cunningham, my guy, Ian Yates-Cunningham.
IYC.
Do you want to be here, bro? Do you? Seriously, it's time for a real conversation. Maybe he's frustrated. I get it, but can't even imagine walking off the field.
There was a real cold passing by when Caleb got injured at the end of the game. Another blatant, wild decision for Matt Eberflus to have him in at the end for that blowout.
Hey,
but he got injured, and he walked by DJ Moore, and they just bumped shoulders.
Hey, no problem. Seriously, I'm not saying he's a bad guy for not wanting to be there. Like, guys don't want to be places. But you know, the whole, if you don't like it here, leave. You can get something from him. I'm just throwing it out there.
Where would you, DJ Moore, what's the best, Matt? Houston needs a
turn him into a stud offensive tackle next year. Seriously, turn that guy into a 330-pound fucking Joe Alt. Okay? If he don't want to be there. I don't know where he's going. I don't know who it is. But
he's going to play with Joe Alt.
The coach in me just came out a little bit, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And this is me defending Caleb a little bit, who hasn't played as good as some people think, but he's still your fucking guy, dude. And this guy got blasted in Houston and kept getting up. You know, he's taking shit. People talk about his purse, his nails, whatever. He's taking a lot of shit. The last guy he needs to take shit from is his fucking veteran wide receiver. You know, I don't like that. I just don't like it. And he was nice enough to come on the show and do an interview, so I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not, but just as a football player, I don't like that shit. Okay, so
Bears are cooked.
They're not cooked.
But listen, if they don't listen, they have one game next week to get it back on track against the Patriots, and then look at their games after the Patriots. Look at their games. It's a gauntlet.
No, they have the hardest schedule remaining.
Bro, it's a gauntlet.
Where this other team, and I'm on you. I'm on it, Cardinals fans. All 10 of y'all in here. I understand. Like it's hey, we're a long way from Arizona, and I didn't play in Arizona, and maybe there's not a lot of Arizona fans that listen to this pod, but I see y'all, man. We've been talking about. I have been on your side all year. I think you got a good football team, and what you've done in a 2-week span, 3-week span, really, fucking beating a very good Chargers team in a physical game, okay, and then under a week later going to Miami with no run game, finding a way to beat that team, and then doing this against that defense, hadn't given up 21 points, more than 21 points all year long. You had that at the half. You ran the ball for 200 yards. Fucking Eberflus runs out. I don't know what coverage he's in, but they go slot blitz at the 50-yard line. You get 3-on-3 outside. You get McBride on a backer. You get there you go, Cardinals getting some help on defense.
And they got
but they run for 50 yards at the end of the first half. That's inexcusable, but it also speaks to the Cardinals and how good of a job they're doing. And this no-name defense, and I don't mean to disrespect them, but there's just not a lot of guys on this defense at the beginning of the season. You're like, yep, star. Okay.
6 sacks.
6 sacks, 16 pressures, 13 different guys registered pressures, 46% dropbacks. Uptick in man coverage, up to 30% yesterday. They were 20% on the season. So they came in here and they said, we can man these guys up, and they did. Nick Rallis, John Gannon, take a bow, man. Seriously, they have done a great job, and congratulations, Nick Rallis. He is a father. I don't know if he had any kids before, but Dominic Kaiser Rallis. Kaiser is the middle name. That tells you he loves Kaiser White. That just is an opportunity to shout out Kaiser White and what a big deal he probably is, not only on this defense, but in the locker room, to get a kid fucking named after your linebacker. Like, they got something. I'm not saying they're a special team, but they got a special thing going. Like, they really do have a special little thing going, and they're building. It might not be for this year. It might be for next year, but right now they're sitting up top of the NFC West. So
sometimes that's the best feeling, like when you're in a room like with a defense or someone where you guys kind of like know that you're kind of like looked over, or you don't have any like big time star names, but you guys are going in there, getting the job done, like getting 6 sacks. Like, that feels good going into the defensive meeting this week and watching tape and being like, guys, like, everyone else outside of this room might not know what's going on, but we have something. And then to know you have a quarterback who's a gamer and will keep you guys in game, and the way they have their running game going, that's a nice feeling going into the back half of the season for that team.
No question. Bo, what'd you have? I'm sorry, bro.
I just think, like, you're talking about the coaching staff and how their record on the road is, a pretty dark spot on their coaching staff. Obviously, I agree. But what you're talking about with Moore too is, like, I feel like there's just a total lack of vet leadership in that locker room. I mean, if you think about it a little bit, like the shit that they've been through, losing to the commies on that last second Hail Mary, that's a tough game to kind of bounce back from and play well. And then they make the same dumbass mistake on defense right before the half, which you definitely alluded to too. But it's like there's definitely some sort of disconnect between the staff and the players in that locker room. But it's like you would hope, at least, like, I always think of things from a player's perspective. Who is stepping up in that locker room to be a leader? Is it your rookie, first overall pick? Is it, I don't know, a random offensive lineman who's bounced around the league?
They don't have any good ones. Like, that's the problem. It's hard to be
right.
It's hard to be a leader if you're not doing your job well.
Good leadership from the coaching staff or from the locker room, and that's why I think it shows up on Sunday.
You're totally right, and I can see Caleb trying to be a leader. I can see him trying to do the thing. To be fair to him, I don't think he's the problem there necessarily at all. Like, the offensive line's bad. Like, they didn't even block a guy on a safety, right? Like, they just let him run by. But I will say this. What Caleb can't do is, when they're at midfield down 2 scores, as crazy as 24-9 looks or whatever it is at the end of that game, you got a chance to hit, I think it was, it might have been DJ Moore, but at the 25-yard line, vacated zone, just sitting there, and you go sidearm. You're trying to be Patrick Mahomes for no reason. And I don't know if it's if we're getting into the zone of, like, I got to be a hero here. And sometimes when you get into hero mode, you do things that are unsound, but like there's no need to drop your arm angle there. And la-di-da, you miss the throw, and the next play you got somebody in the flat, and you're throwing into a sea of red jerseys in the honey hole because the corner bails, and all of a sudden it's third down. You take 2 sacks. You know, you had a chance to get to one score. So it's not fair what Caleb's being asked to do. But unfortunately, like in these situations, you got to avoid those stretches. You know, he took too many sacks. So to be fair to the kid, it's not all his fault. And I'm certainly not here throwing cold water on this thing. But I think when we said coming into the season, like Jaden Daniels is not only the most pro ready, but he's also on the best setup. Like that, it's played out that way. So Chicago, the parade's not this year, but maybe down the line. Like I think this kid, some of the underneath throws he makes, I'm like, wow. If you can just stay there and work on whatever it is, in the deep intermediate part of the field that you just can't get on the same page with these guys outside the numbers deep. One of them is it's the fucking, and if Eberflus if they don't make a move, DJ Moore has to be on his best behavior. But if he doesn't make a move, if they don't talk about making a move, if that's not on the table after a play like that, then nobody respects you, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, because ultimately when you're walking around the locker room saying that's unacceptable, we got to be on time here, you're not good enough to be making different rules for different people. And nobody on your team is good enough to have different rules, DJ Moore included. Like, there's nobody that's that good on your team. That's the kind of shit you do for, like, Justin Jefferson if he were an asshole, which he's not. So, I mean, you cannot accept that stuff. I don't know what's going on today there, but the last 2 weeks with this team, it's just bad news bears in the locker room.
To wrap this recap up to Nate's point, so they have the Patriots next week.
Baron Browning. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Because you pointed it out, but I never said Baron Browning, one of our favorite guys who doesn't get a lot of pub.
He was in Denver. He was in a very young pass rush group that they couldn't get enough snaps to everybody. They over the weekend they signed Jonathan Cooper to a big extension. Benito, Jonah Ellis out of this year's draft class has been playing well.
Got a lot of rushers.
Drake Tillman.
Surplus. So
it sucks.
But it's good for Arizona. You need a rusher.
And if there was a team I'd love to see Broncos go to, I mean, we owed Arizona a player to be named later in the Zach Allen, free agent signing. So this is fair. Mm.
Reed's the nicest fan
He's a really nice fan.
Like,
everybody.
You cheer for former Broncos like they're alone.
Yes.
He really is. He's
like
got
they're
good heart. You know what I mean?
There's like Philly fans. It's like if you didn't pan out, it's like you might as well be.
I'm really excited about the next breakdown.
Another NFC West.
It brings out my pride as a former Ram. Some people say, "Oh, you don't act like a former Ram." Well, the team moved; they're a totally different place. Like it doesn't feel like the same. But for me, like when I see guys in the horns like getting after it up front like that, and this game was drunk. There's plenty to talk about in this.
You had like the best line last night when you said Matthew Stafford was tired. He just wanted to go home.
He just wanted to go home. In overtime, it was like, hey, I'm throwing in a sea of bodies. By the way, before I get to the D line, we've said this over and over again. The Rams Robins, and I mean the non-Puka, the non-Cooper guys like Robinson, Tutu Atwell, who's not getting as many targets right now. It doesn't feel like he's part of the long-term plan. But I look at Robinson, especially yesterday. Some of the catches he made. The kid Tyler Johnson.
Yep.
Which in overtime, that's an ill-advised throw. If Woolen just comes to the ball, look how Beau's frozen. Talk about methy. Can we screenshot that? So if Woolen comes to the ball, and Woolen had a tough day. He got beat on a pivot route down in the goal line by Robinson, and then the game winner, like, come on. That was an incredible finish to that game, which was batshit crazy. That game was crazy. Geno Smith, really gutsy to come back and make that throw to JSN, who had probably, if not for penalties, 3 hundo. Okay?
Huge game.
To make that throw in the end zone, which was a dime to tie it up, to go to him on 4th and 5, to get the 2 scores at the end of the first half, it's a lot like the Seahawks as a whole. Really inconsistent. You can play like shit for 40 minutes and there's 2 10-minute bursts where you just look like the greatest show on turf. Geno's up and down, and for me, it's that pick in the end zone that totally changed the game, right? Obviously, including the second pick in the red zone, which we'll get to in a second. But I want to talk about the damn Rams defensive line. I am psyched to talk about these guys. It feels like a second. It feels like a second different, but like a lot of high picks on this group. In the early 2010s, we had a lot of high picks on our D-line. They called us Sack City.
A lot of ACC guys.
A lot of ACC guys. We got some ACC guys on this line, Fisk and Verse. You got Young. You have fucking 91. I'm forgetting his damn name. Turner.
Kobe Turner.
Turner. Fisk might be an absolute dude. And number one, he looks like a kid or a player that my kid created in Madden.
Yep.
He really does. He looks like if you were just like, fuck it, randomize this cat. Number 55, dark visor, T-shirt length, sweatshirt, not sweatshirt. Yep. What do you call that thing? A damn undershirt. McDavid wrist braces. Like, what else am I missing? You just hit randomize on the player. But he was winning left and right. And as I'm watching this game, I'm like, damn, I hope he gets a bucket because people have been eating off him this whole game. And he ends up with 2 in the second half. Not just that, he gets away with the hold on that tight end that was kind of a cagey move where Geno thinks he's going to be in the flat, but Fisk just gets a little piece of him. They miss the call. That leads to the second pick. Jared Verse is a dog. He might have my favorite sack of the day. Running through Charles Cross. What did we say about his anchor? He ran right through him. As soon as he got a taste of the anchor, he was like, I'm coming right back. And ran through him, ran through the fucking back. I mean, it was a big boy rush. And I'll say this. Byron Young, who kind of gets lost in the whole thing, not only caused the pick in the red zone that went for 6, but sprung it with a block. Also caused the pick 6 against Green Bay. So this group, and they run a lot of simulated pressures. It's kind of just a rush with 4 group right now, and they're getting the job done. And I got to shout out Giff Smith, their defensive line coach. I mean, it's a daycare, and he's doing a great job with this group, man. It makes me proud to have played for the Rams. You want to talk about things that make me proud? I'm watching Jared Verse. I like that guy. I like that guy. I would like to play with that guy. So, absolutely great game for him. Great game for Les Snead. Kitchens, big play. You're talking about young guys making play. The safeties, McCullough, Curl.
Kitchens was cooking Geno.
He was cooking. Yeah, he was cooking Geno, for real.
103-yard returns.
This was a great game for this team. It, not only puts you right back in it because the threshold to get back in the West was so low. Like 2 weeks ago you were selling, now you're back in it. But this young defense, led by Chris Shula, doing a pretty good job. Is it enough to get Aaron Donald to think about coming off the couch?
Ooh.
Let's wait a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Not
right now.
But huge third quarter from them. Time of possession. I mean, for Seattle to do what they did at home, it's still Seattle, to take that lead and then go into the half, and the Rams dominated time of possession in the third quarter. What was the number on that?
Yeah, it was like 12 and a half minutes they had in the third quarter. They ran 22 plays.
Perimeter runs.
Yeah.
Came out, got the ball on the perimeter. And I thought, again, the plays that their non-star receivers made in the passing game, huge. And eventually, my man Stafford just wants to go home. He's tired from Halloween where he dressed like Travis Kelce, which I thought was hilarious. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
What's up with Puka punching Kobe Bryant in the face?
You know what Kobe Bryant did? You tell me if this was before or after this, because I didn't see where he got ejected because I watched the All-22. I didn't watch the game live as closely. Mm-hmm. I know Puka got ejected. There was a play early in the game on the left sideline where one of the receivers caught the ball on the Rams sideline. Mm-hmm. The guy hits the ground. He's on the ground, like he's down on the sideline. Kobe Bryant comes up and punches him. Just full out punches him. I know Rams fans saw this. Kobe Bryant comes over there and is like, I'm punching the ball, but just fucking punches homeboy. So I don't know if that was related. But now that you say he punched Kobe Bryant, now I know how Puka got ejected, and I'm kind of piecing together watching the All-22. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And is somebody going to do something about that? Maybe that's what it was. People in the chat, did y'all see this?
Bad timing for him to do that. And then on top of it being Kobe Bryant, this is just like kind of not related, but since his name is Kobe Bryant, did you see that Puka Nacua seriously thinks if he had a few months of training that he can play in the NBA?
Good. I'm glad somebody's saying that because like we had to listen to that whole thing this offseason, which made for good content. But I just don't think people understand. It's just not the same sport.
No.
It's just you can't just be a super athlete.
No.
There were so many good college basketball players that they're now playing that at least
Jimmy Graham.
But I'm talking about we're in camp too. Like the Jimmy Grahams.
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb.
But I'm talking about the guys that like made camps but then didn't make the team. And I watched him play. And I was like, bro, like he played basketball in college. Great. He can jump 45 vertical. Cool, he's tall. Does that make you a great football player? I think Puka's dead right. He could play in the NBA. That's just easy. If you give me 6 weeks, I could play in the NBA.
Cap.
I'm a good passer. All right, so
AFC, you want to take a look at the standings?
Yeah, I do.
AFC.
I do. I want to take
picture.
a leak while you guys look at the standings. I'm sorry, man. I drink a lot of water, you know.
All right, so
I know. I'm just
AFC's tale of the haves and the have-nots, with the Colts and the Bengals kind of in the middle. We got the Chiefs looking great in the AFC West. Bills looking great in the AFC East, both with 7 wins right now. Chiefs trying to go to 8 tonight. Currently in the AFC East, we have the Steelers with 6 wins, getting that division title. But of course, the Ravens are sitting right there with 6-3, with just 1 more loss. And then the Texans, even though they're reeling, are still leading in the South. And then the other 3 playoff teams currently are Ravens, Chargers, Broncos, Colts, and Bengals still looking in. Jets technically with a little bit of life at 3-6.
And Nate, I want to know what you think, but can the Steelers hold on to that AFC North spot? They're a half game ahead of the Ravens right now, 6-2. The Ravens are 6-3.
Oh, can the Steelers?
Do you think they hold on to that spot?
who's that? Steelers.
Steelers holding on to the AFC North #1 spot.
Well,
half game ahead of the Ravens.
Here's the thing about the Steelers, and when you talk about the Ravens, like I was kind of like I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit on the Ravens, and yeah, y'all got it done yesterday, or y'all did not get it done. The Ravens got it done yesterday, but I do worry about the defense. Like I do worry a little bit about them, and the reason it's even a conversation because it's not like when you compare like the Ravens offense to the Steelers offense, it's 2 sides of the fucking ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, like, if you look at the way the Steelers match up with the Ravens year after year, they're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you got to win these division games. Like, the division could come down to Steelers-Ravens. You know, so, like, who's got a chance? Who's got a higher ceiling? The Ravens probably have a higher ceiling. But who could have the better playoff spot? Like, you never know. Like, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers have proved enough with Russell Wilson at the helm. Now, the Giants aren't a good team, right? Who'd they beat the week before?
It was
Jets. Jets aren't a good team.
It's their schedule the rest of the way that looks tough with all of their AFC North games. They had the Commies, they had the Eagles, they had the Chiefs.
And that's tough. And that might be who do the Ravens play.
Let's see.
Ravens have.
I think the NFL conspiracy, they're going to push for the brothers to play in the playoffs.
Ravens are they have the Bengals. They go to the Steelers on November 17th. They still have the Chargers, Eagles. They got Steelers twice, and then they end Texans, Browns.
It feels like take the division games and you can lose any of them, Steelers and Ravens. Like, it's just the AFC North is a bloodbath. Even when defense isn't great on every team. I mean, like, but it just brings something out in all these teams. But I don't know, man. Like, the thing about the Ravens is their ceiling is so high, but their floor is so low. Like, me and Bill were sitting here at Inside the NFL, Belichick.
Bill.
The guy sitting next to him in production meetings. It's like fucking awesome. And he's like, look at all these teams that have won 2 games. There's a lot of teams at the bottom who won like 2-3 games. How many of those wins are against each other? Like, and it turned out that like most of the wins were against each other. The teams that actually, the good teams that group of bad teams had beaten was like the Ravens. Like it was like, and that's always the story is sometimes they play down the team. So I don't know, like maybe there's not enough bad teams left on their schedule, but there's a lot of AFC North games for both these teams. So,
Bo, do you have a lean? Ravens or Steelers?
I like the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson looked really good on Sunday. Man, I'm freezing again. Lamar Jackson looked really good on Sunday. I think Pittsburgh is built to win with their defense and like just the way they control the game, their run game. If their quarterback, who looks like it's going to be Russ moving forward. Like I feel good about the Steelers. I just think the Ravens are so hard to stop. Like Derrick Henry is fucking rolling. He's got 1,000 yards rushing already. Lamar Jackson had a perfect passer rating on Sunday. It's tough to beat that, man.
Dude, he's the MVP. Okay, we go around. We're talking about like if he plays like this the rest of the season, just give him the damn trophy. Like, and I love Josh Allen, and like I might take Josh Allen. Like if I had to, gun to my head. Glad nobody's like putting a gun to people's heads being like, who are your top 5 quarterbacks? Like that's a world I don't want to live in. Okay. But like he's the MVP. I mean, like if he plays like this, he's the MVP. We can talk about this guy should be in the conversation. That guy, like
whose name automatically getting you shot? Top 5 quarterback.
I mean, Detroit, they're gonna kill me.
Whose name that if you put in there is just automatically someone?
Justin Herbert. Bang.
White Tim Tebow or Black Tim Tebow.
Black Tebow.
New segment.
No, but honestly, I mean, it's a good time to talk about what happened yesterday with the Ravens. Like, it's a perfect example of pick your poison with this offense. We're gonna come in. Vance Joseph says we're gonna stop the run. Yes, you did in the first half, but by the time I looked up, this game was damn near out of reach, and it looked to me like the Ravens were just shredding them when they tried to man up.
Oh
all over the field. And Zay Flowers was just running. I mean, we were wake surfing behind him. We were just following the boat. And the tackling problems the Broncos had, especially on that touchdown right before the half. I mean, that should have been a field goal. If they complete that pass, that should have been a field goal at most.
Right.
You have them, wrapped up with 4 dudes around him at the 35.
Shout out to Harbaugh. Know how to coach. You know how to get your guys going? You bring in another body. Zay Flowers didn't drop any passes yesterday.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
you bring another able body into the room that can play. It'll make you elevate your game, even if you're a good player.
They just traded for this guy, like so.
That's another weapon down the road. For the long run, though.
Zach Orr in the defense, in big spots against good passing operations. Like ironically, they had one of their best games against the Bills. The Bills have added somebody since then, although we'll get to them in a second. Like the Keon Coleman injury might be
big, especially with Cooper was out yesterday, right?
Cooper was out yesterday.
So
Cooper, you saw what they looked like against Baltimore when they were down Shakir. Shakir might really be the one for that offense.
He was catching the ball and pulling some piles with him yesterday.
But I guess the point is, with all these AFC teams, and the Ravens deserve the utmost respect. I mean, they really do. Like, do you want me to say the best team in the AFC? I don't know. Like, there's a team that's undefeated and is not even playing well. So and the Bills are going to be hell if you play them again. I know you kick their ass. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. I mean, up top here, all the way through the Chargers. No offense, Cowboy. I think that there's because I put the Chargers in the category of teams that can beat. I think the Chargers can beat almost anybody in the AFC.
Right.
Vegas agrees with you. The Chargers are minus 300 to make the playoffs at 5-3. Meanwhile, the Broncos are 5-4. They're plus 200.
It's just that there's a ledge. There's a bit of a ledge. I like Denver. I think they deserve respect. I think Bo Nix in spots looks like he had a big month. He looked yesterday good in some spots and then
just
not so
missed
good
a
in some
couple.
spots.
Yeah.
And that's a game script that sucks. It's not the game script you want to follow if you're the Broncos, but. Looking at this AFC playoff race, this is going to be a fun AFC playoff. Because I have no idea right now as it sits. No idea. Every team has a weakness, except.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the Chargers.
Who's got the smallest weakness? Chiefs, probably. They just added a receiver. Running back.
Who has the best offense when they're playing their best ball? Who has the best offense?
Baltimore does. Now, who has out of Chargers, Ravens, Texans, Steelers, Bills, Chiefs? Who's got the worst defense?
Right now,
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston or
Buffalo.
Are you going to say the Ravens?
They're not at the top. The best
the Ravens?
The defenses I trust the most out of this group probably obviously the Chiefs because they're game bred. They know how to do this thing.
Steelers.
Chargers are elite. Like the Chargers probably be the best. Look at the numbers. The Steelers are up there. I think the Bills, when they're cooking, when they get all their guys back, are going to be pretty damn good. Like come playoff time. The two teams that to me are a little bit incomplete on defense, Houston and Baltimore.
The Chargers' scoring defense,
passing defenses,
in the last 5 years since 2020. So 2020 they were 23rd scoring defense. 2021 29th. 2022 they were 21st. 2023 24th. This year they're first.
Yeah.
So
elite. respect due to all those teams at the top of the AFC table, but I think the Ravens just. Like, I didn't learn anything new about them yesterday. I think what we learned, we knew this about the Broncos. Like, there is a delta when you play. And the Ravens can make some teams look like this. Like, they have made.
Especially coming off, like, you're playing the Ravens in the worst possible position.
No question.
Pissed off. They lost a in-division game last week that they shouldn't have lost.
Mad.
Their defense, they drop balls. They're mad.
They're mad. And when the Ravens are mad, it's not good.
No.
So,
did you learn anything about the Dolphins-Bills game?
Well, and I mean this respectfully. I don't take any like solace in saying this, but the fins are cooked now. Like they're eating dolphin, like which is illegal, I think.
Yeah, in this country it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've definitely seen YouTube videos of them eating dolphin.
Now the story on the Dolphins season is probably like, they could have been, a wild card team, or maybe you could think they should have made a run at the division, but like right now, the hole is too big. The hole was dug early in the season with the way they played, but also the quarterback being hurt and not having a fucking backup that could just win a damn game or something. I thought Tua played well yesterday. I thought like early in the game, I was like, he's going to have to make a throw in the red zone in this damn game. They're just running screens down here. It's just screens and damn. But that throw he made in the red zone where he was actually like mobile, pumped a couple times, had to play off script. If you're ever wondering why I put him below some other quarterbacks, because I don't see that enough. Okay? That was a hell of a play and a really good performance by him, honestly. And the run game, though, to me was the key. Like, and just to stay in this game, because the Bills, they start slow at home. Like, that's what we've noticed outside of that night game against the Jags. All three of their noon games, 1 o'clock games. I call them noon games. I grew up in the Midwest in the NFL. We were noon games for real. But these 1 p.m.s at home, Buffalo has sleptwalked through the first halves.
Yeah.
So I thought they came out too conservative and ended up in a game. And obviously the Keon Coleman thing should be a touchdown. It ends up a fucking interception. And the game swings completely. And then for me, it was the Dolphins getting the run game going. And I think customarily when the Dolphins play the Bills do a really good job of taking away the perimeter stuff. And I thought they turned a lot of their outside zone runs into downhill runs. Like I thought they just were like, we're gonna test these guys' chin. And the credit to the Dolphins is they can run the fucking ball. We know that about them. I mean, and when they get that run game going, the voids in space really open up.
Yep.
And I thought Tua did a really nice job of making them competitive in this game. But at the end of the day,
Rome momentum.
Taron Johnson. Right,
punch out, beautiful punch.
It's a beautiful punch out,
and it was just like nice. they really, like you're saying, like Miami. When they start to get that run going with Moisture and A-Chain, it can feel like it's really too much to stop if they get it in. Like I feel like they were kind of getting into that mode, and then that punch out just changed momentum completely.
I just want to say this thing. I saw David Smith, fins with Tua are for real. That is not what I'm saying by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying is like this was a good game by the Dolphins. Okay, like
yeah.
How about this?
They have not been the same team to me since I don't know last year. Like I just felt like some of the shine wore off, and some people. We were talking about this yesterday. I do think that like there is some figuring that offense out that goes on because there are some limitations, right? Now, if they got the run game humming. They're always going to be in the game. And I thought this was just, like, not for nothing because it is kind of over for them. Like
2 wins right now.
2-win teams.
Are they sellers?
That's the question we got to be asking because.
Should be.
And would you drive 3 hours up the road and maybe go see Baker if they get a win tonight? Or would you go to West
So
Coast?
you like Tyreek going to Tampa. I like Tyreek going to L.A.
I think just for
And I'm talking about the Chargers.
I'm just thinking about realistic stuff and not
I don't
to
know
be
what's
people's
realistic.
personal business, but Tyreek has a lot of kids in Florida. So like to stay close, to get on the team, I mean that's not too different.
Yeah.
You got like a streaky quarterback, but I think Baker would love to throw him some bombs. Like, you know?
If there's something I'm missing about the tradability of Tyreek Hill, let me know. But I think it's time to sell if you're the Dolphins on some level.
But if I'm Mike, I'm not giving him up.
But how old is Tyreek Hill?
I'm not giving him up.
30.
He's 30.
Yeah.
He's got some more good years in him. He's definitely got more good years in him. But the question is, like, is there something you could use on your roster that you don't have right now? Is the question, does taking him off the roster change that offense to the point where, like,
I demand one thing. No way in hell do not let Andy Reid get his hands on him again. It's not fair to anyone else if that happens.
So maybe directly handicap Andy Reid by sending him to L.A. to Justin Herbert. Now, I know this is fantasy land shit, and Miami fans will be like, are you fucking kidding me? AJIV.11. I just want you guys to hear me when I say this. You can call me whatever, but the thing I just said, Mike McDaniel is 1-14 versus teams with winning records. Is that true?
He might as well coach the Bengals.
Because I've been using that stat with the quarterback's name, but I should also use it with the head coach's name as well.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, they have not been good playing good teams. And that could be the wrong stat, but it's not far off. It's not far off. And that's the problem is, like, I kind of want to see a different iteration of this group. Like, you got to do something with the offense. I mean, I don't know what it is, but, like, there's too many games where you play a good team where it's just like your handicap.
Ramsey blow up pending. He's not a happy guy when he's on losing teams.
But you can't fucking – there were Finns fans talking about, oh, let's fire Mike McDaniel earlier this year. I don't know what they're saying now, but, like, my point is this. You just paid a quarterback that can run his system, and that's, like, mostly the system he can run. Like –
yeah,
you put him in some of these other offenses, it's not going to look the same. And that's not what I'm saying is you can't fire Mike. You just paid the quarterback. No. They're married, dude. So, like, what are we going to do in the future? Are we sellers? Are we not sellers? But they're cooked. And I think the Bills just a really really gutsy win for them. I mean, Josh Allen in the red zone. That's the kind of ball where we're all just screaming, like we're all jumping up and down, like. That was nuts. I mean, and I feel like part of the deal is early in the game, this team sleepwalks until Josh makes a big play. And he made those big plays in the red zone, but they called him back on those ticky-tack holding calls. Like, not very good, but they found a way to win. This is a damn good team. They have 7 wins, very quietly 7 wins. I think a lot of people, you ask them who the best teams in the AFC are, they're going to say Chiefs, they're going to say the Ravens, but they're not going to say the Bills. The Bills, if they get some guys back on defense, are contenders. They are. They might be contenders right now the way they are.
Yeah.
So.
Another more AFC, we got Chargers, Browns. And if Tyreek Hill does make that move to the Chargers, how far up the AFC playoff picture do the Chargers fly? Are they in the 5th spot? Do you think they get?
Did I miss something? Is Tyreek Hill actually on the trade block?
No, we put him on the trade block.
Gas from the pod.
This is just us talking
for
ball.
funsies.
This is for fun. This is us playing fantasy GM.
I think the Chargers are good, man. I like the Chargers.
I do too.
I like how they're built. They struggled against Myles Garrett in the pass rush from the Browns. Myles Garrett's a fucking dog.
Dog.
Everyone does. He had 3 sacks. He's a fucking dog. But I love the Chargers, dude. I think they're good. I think they're built to win late in the season. I'm kind of riding the Chargers train right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Love the Chargers. It would help to have one more guy. If you watch the Chargers, you see wide receivers letting this guy down sometimes. And like that, like when they get in these games where, listen, you can't be sleepwalking through half the game against the Saints. You can't be. Now, they did a better job of building a lead and sticking to it this week. And to your point, the defensive line in Cleveland still playing really good. There was a moment in the game. I don't know if I've ever seen this, and you pointed this out with Myles having 3 sacks. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody have 3 sacks in 4 plays. Okay? I'm just telling you, it was like they were backed up. he just was like, fuck this. He beat, who's a very good player, Rashawn Slater, twice in a row. Yeah. And then, I guess, next possession, first play, he's like, let me get some of Joe Alt. And runs right through Joe Alt. And like,
did you see Jim's little smile on the sideline? It was so good. Schwartz,
his
it was
little
so
smirk.
nice. He was just smirking. He's just smiling, loving life.
Well, listen, loving life
bad,
until they dropped 2 coverages for touchdowns. I don't know what they were doing on those coverages.
You know what sucks for the Chargers?
What?
That the Rams and the Bengals won this weekend, because there's probably guys on that team, if they would have lost, they might have been sellers. But they won, and they're kind of still in it. So like,
no question. There's
think about teams. Cooper Kupp floating around.
But I'm gonna tell you who was. It felt like they were trying to make the search and rescue plane notice him was Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kind of felt like he was like, down here. I know I know I'm not on the list, but like, seriously, like the end of what's the man? There's a really good zombie movie, 28 Days Later. This is a fucking amazing movie. Have you seen that movie? Have y'all seen 28 Days Later? No?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Great movie.
Bro, we need to.
Great movie.
It's one of the best movies.
I'm not a zombie.
They're actually about to come out,
but not 28 weeks later. That's like the Major League 4 of the 28.
Is that a
days
sequel?
series.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that a sequel?
I agree. It's so unmemorable.
They're about to come out with 28 years later.
I'm excited for that one, Matt.
But like, there's some guys that are probably Njoku's being talked about as somebody on the block. Moore, Newsome, JOK is on IR, so probably not. But like, obviously not. But like, Myles Garrett, like, I don't know. I know it's like a fantasy land thing, but if you think about like, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Why?
The way and Zadarius Smith is probably going to Detroit. They're starting to talk about this like it's going to happen. So.
Well, isn't that what Dan Campbell was alluding to mysteriously last week in his presser?
Probably.
I thought it was the Chris.
That's kind of the vibe that I got.
I thought Chris was going there.
I know, but like, he's younger. He's cheaper. I'm not leaving this job for less than a Chick-fil-A in the facility.
What I think has been so great about the Chargers is the last couple of years they've needed Justin Herbert to win games, right? He's had to throw them into the win column. That hasn't happened this much or as much this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Beau looked at it a couple weeks ago that his passes over their first couple of weeks, his attempts are less than half of what he had the last couple of years.
Oh no, no question. You're not getting him killed. You have
a run game.
You have a run game. I mean, like, they are doing the thing you do with like a bridge, but they're doing it with like one of the best quarterbacks on the planet, and that's kind of fun.
Damn.
I mean, like,
everyone's fan base wants Myles Garrett. They say Myles Garrett is
the prettiest girl at the prom. I just read that.
And I see all these fan bases being like, we'll take him.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, he would make anybody better.
Eagles, you would be how excited would you be? How bad would you glaze that if they found a way to get him?
I would
just thinking about it makes you excited.
Yeah. I would be overjoyed. And I would be overjoyed for the player, because that's not where you want to play football. Not that you wouldn't want to play in Cleveland. Whenever Cleveland gets it right, it's going to be incredible. There's going to be nowhere you'd rather be than Cleveland.
It's going to feel like the economy's right
but
now.
it's so far from happening, it feels like.
Like Detroit.
When's the next time Cleveland's good?
Oof.
So what's the point? What's the point? What's the point of making this guy? What are you selling, jerseys?
Probably a lot of them. Probably a lot.
I feel bad for people that play for this team. Sucks.
Want to hit some flyovers? Introducing our flyover games.
We'll have a Chiron by.
Oh, look at that Chiron!
Oh! Sorry to yell.
Hell yeah.
Sorry to yell.
We're doing Raiders Bengals.
Sexy red. Ad-lib for that.
Raiders Bengals.
Little flyover.
So explain the Jermaine Burton thing.
So, and Nolan, correct me if I'm missing any of these pieces, but early in the week, they were like, Jermaine Burton's going to be a huge part of the game plan with T. Higgins out. On Saturday, I believe it was that he missed a walkthrough, and then he was wiped. He's a healthy scratch from Saturday or from Sunday, and literally coming out of Alabama, Nick Saban said his biggest issue going into the NFL is maturity. He has to mature. There was a game last year, I think he was caught punching a fan on the field at Alabama. He was the one when one of the teams one of the fan bases but rushed the field, that one fan got in his grill and he swung on him. And then you see all these players, you see the video of Joe Burrow saying, "Why are you sitting? Get your ass up. Have a good support your teammates if you're not playing."
Right.
And Mike Hilton also after the game, he said, you got to be professional in this league. Zach Taylor after the game said, "Hey, if we have to be mature, we have to go about things the right way. He's going to be a huge help for us." But the issues this past week, we had to scratch him.
Dude, you're doing the guy a disservice if you don't do what Joe Burrow's doing, if you don't treat him like this.
Right.
Because if you just tell the guy it's going to be okay and it's not going to be okay. It's your career you're fucking with. But right now, you're fucking with us. You're fucking with everybody in this building when you don't show up to things on time, when you don't do the right things, when you don't show up, when you don't study your playbook, whatever it is, this is not just doing yourself a disservice, but you could cost us the season because the margins are thin right now. They're razor thin, and Joe said it. I'm going to be a different kind of leader. And maybe that kind of leader is the guy that's get off the bench. You don't even need to be sitting here.
And lucky for him, like Joe said, if you weren't as good as you are, you'd have been out of there. Guys get cut for less. And the fact that they had you in the game plan, bro, that's really what hurts the most is that you were in the game plan. It's walked through before the game. They already made the game plan. You're in it.
Hey, Brett, that's a good question, Brett Stillman. He said Jason can throw a phone, but Burton can't punch a frat bro. I agree with it. When he was thinking that, I thought about the Jason thing, and I was like, you know what, though? I'm not sure what that guy said to him. But the point is, if Jason smashes a guy's phone, it doesn't hurt the team. You know what I mean? It's a decision that Jason makes individually. He's not a part of a team. You know, you could argue that it's hurting.
That's good for views, if anything.
It's his ESPN. There's his teammates at ESPN. But there's a difference. We need this guy. He's a good player. And I wasn't aware of the situation at Alabama. I don't watch amateur football. Okay? I only watch the professionals. But homeboy punch it. Not this week. I'm going down to Baton Rouge. Maybe that should have been the damn layup line. I'm gonna do a layup line on the way out today, because I'm calling Baton Rouge. Or we save it for next week. But listen, I do think there's something too. Fans need to fucking give players their space when they rush that field. And there's just not really a way around it. So I get the emotion. One of my best friends is LeGarrette Blount that I play with, and somebody that I'm pretty sure whatever the guy at Boise State said to him, he earned it. Pretty sure. Okay. So yeah, your point is a good one. But in this circumstance, if you're generally undependable, and one of the ways it manifests is just hauling off and punching somebody after a game, and the other way it manifests is not showing up to practice, and the other way it manifests is missing a meeting, and then you're a shit show. So we're trying to avoid having shit shows that we depend on in the NFL. I think that's what Joe Burrow's doing. So, and the Nick Saban point notwithstanding, the guy's got to show up and do his job. And that's what I like about Joe is that is the leadership that is demanded in this situation.
Yeah.
And you saw it from across the locker room. What Nate was saying, every one of the interviews of guys that gave after the game on this topic, they said he's going to be a huge proponent for us. He's going to be a huge piece of the Bengals' future. Every single one. Zach Taylor said it. Joe Burrow said it. Mike Hilton, all the guys.
Okay, Brett, let's do it. Brett Stillman said, for the record, he shouldn't have punched that guy. My question is, do you know that for sure? Do you know what was said? Are there any words that maybe you could get punched over? That's my point is when these fans or whoever they are, you leave things to chance with grown men. It's I don't know if you've been around enough grown men.
No, but even I think the players are always in the right if the field and the place is going to let fans rush the field.
You're always on the side of the players.
It's just it's a safety issue all the way around. There's no way to police that many.
I'll tell you what they should do. They should do a countdown and get all the fucking players off the field. And then when the fucking the red lights go, everybody rushes the field. The buildup would be crazy. You know what if everybody's down there at the because there has to be a way you can have both. And I love carrying the damn goalposts off too. I'm still into that. Whatever it costs taxpayers, I'm fine with it.
All the RMC or whoever, all the event staff
Doesn't cost
people
taxpayers
that
anything.
don't actually do anything from withholding people, they should all be used for the opposing team that loses, like help them usher it off the field. That's how they should do it. Are we ready for another flyover?
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
hold on before we.
But the
get
Bengals
there.
are not cooked.
The Bengals are now cooked.
They're
On
not.
the other side of that game, Raiders OC Luke Getsy
Fired.
was let go after the game.
Fired.
And
He
O-line
last-
coach and QB coach?
And again, it's the same story for the Bengals, though.
Yeah.
Even though they're not cooked, they played again. The Raiders are so bad, bro.
They're bad.
They're so bad.
bad.
And look, the Bengals are still in it, but it holds true. Like, if you look at the wins that they have,
Are you still on this?
bro, if you just look at the wins that they have,
Right.
you're not impressed.
No, I'm not.
You're not impressed, and I just want to see them. Like, yes, they played. They took the Ravens into the playoffs, but we've been talking about Ravens play down. I want to see them play
But the Ravens
well.
weren't playing down there.
Yeah, no.
The Ravens were playing the best they could, and they found themselves down 2 scores to this team. So,
And I want to see that Bengals team, like, from them.
Look,
from
you got
yesterday.
it. You're gonna have a night game. If the Ravens lose
next
to the
week.
Bengals at home at 8:15 at night, then what are you gonna say? I'm just saying. I'm not saying I think it's gonna happen, but what are you gonna say?
No, like,
He's gonna eat some more uncooked sushi.
Exactly. I'm gonna have no choice but to eat my words. But again, bro, they had until they can beat a good team, it's gonna be the same story.
I know, but 2 weeks ago you were like, I think the Browns got a shot.
They might not get another win until the Titans.
Who the Bengals?
Oh no, my bad.
They're
My
playing
bad,
at Dallas. Nate.
My
Listen,
bad.
I mean, this game's gonna be monumental.
Yeah,
On the 7th here.
probably gonna be a good game.
8:15. What is that? Is that the 7th
It's Thursday, right?
Thursday night?
In the next week, the
They flexed
17th,
it,
the
right?
Chargers just got flexed.
Flex.
They're Sunday night. Chargers Bengals.
So maybe they know something we
That'll
don't
be a good
know.
game.
Great game.
Maybe they got the
So
Bengals
now-
winning.
So now if they win, you're gonna say they flexed them too early. It was a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. Why are they doing that right
The great thing about conspiracies is you're never wrong.
Yeah.
Seriously, and I'm not even saying this about a single conspiracy. I said this before in this pod, and people in the chat were like, "Why are you talking about this one conspiracy I had?" Like, I'm not. I'm just saying across the board, it's a lot harder to prove a conspiracy theorist wrong, and that's why you're so tough to pin down.
Harbor Brothers is still going, baby.
Yeah,
They both
could.
haven't lost in the week yet.
yeah, that is important. Luke Getsy got fired.
Yep.
You know,
And Antonio Pierce said he's going to make the decision on who calls the plays. It's going to be 100% coming from him.
Cap.
Next flyover game, Saints at Panthers.
This isn't a flyover game, dude. This is the Cottonelle doo-doo toilet bowl.
yeah, it's not good. That's bad. Bad ball. Bad ball.
Hospital balls.
Hospital ball.
Jeez.
Saints outgained the Panthers by 150 plus yards, ran for 150 plus yards, and won the turnover battle and lost. Over the past 20 years, teams had gone 275-0 with that formula.
So it's 275-1 now.
Yes.
That is special. You got to be special to do that.
I mean, that's a unique kind of bad.
Yes.
They beat a team so bad. They beat a couple teams so bad early in this season. I mean, like,
Only 2. And the guy, everyone, how crazy is that?
I'm just gonna tell you.
Only 2, and we
Hey.
got hyped, and then they lost every single game.
well,
since.
guess why? Because they did that dirty shit to the Eagles.
Oh, yep.
There's
Football
a
guys.
conspiracy, a true.
There you go. There you
I
go.
told you, bro.
Football guys don't like that BS.
God doesn't like ugly.
Facts.
And it got
Yeah.
Dennis.
I'm not talking
Allen
about faces
No.
because he made those things.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
For the physical-
ugly behavior.
Yeah.
And that was ugly behavior, and they've continued to have ugly behavior. And you know, I talk about Derek Carr. Can we talk about Derek Carr? Because I kind of felt when he stood up at the podium after the game. Listen, did he play well? Fuck no. Is he playing like a elite quarterback? Fuck no. Like, I'm not here caping for the player, but what I am saying is, like, the man. I think it was interesting. Like, he said after the game, he's like, I've had so many teammates in this tone like this. Can you pull up the Michael Thomas tweets for people who don't live online like us? And hey, listen, I get it. you might be grinding an axe, Mike Thomas. I totally get it. Like, maybe he threw you some hospital balls. And you got to realize, like, some positions are totally dependent upon other positions. Like, like for your success and that sort of thing. So I get him kind of not being a fan of Derek Carr's, but, like, boy, him getting online and talking about, you really got to scroll down, huh? Or maybe he deleted them. Is that possible?
No way.
On this TV?
I think you found them. Here, let me pull them up.
Together, he said they fired all them coaches trying to cover his flaws up. Still doing the same shit. Dude tried to lie and say I was jealous of them making Chris wide receiver 1 the whole time. He can't even get him a decent ball. He need his ass whooped. That year, his buddy went first team All-Pro in 2022. He needed 180 targets just to catch 100 balls. He is ass on my granny.
Dude said what?
He is ass on my granny.
On my granny, like on my mom.
I never thought I'd hear
grandmother.
Cowboys
I was thinking of
say
a
the
different
word.
way.
It's
He
just
is
kind of
ass
like
on my
it's like
granny.
confirming. Like
I thought you were saying
I'm
it's like grandma ass.
no, like I
Like,
swear on my granny's life that he's at.
Well, I know on mamas. I know what on mamas
Exactly.
mean, but I know on grannies must
That's
be
even
like a whole,
trumps it.
Yeah.
It trumps because
Whole nother level,
grandmothers trumps your
are
mom.
more important.
And
That's I mean,
right
that's
after-
debatable. I think they're all worth
She
the
birthed
same.
it. The grandmother birthed
But
the
they're all
mom.
worth the same. By that logic, is the mom more important than your daughter? You know what I mean? Like, then you got to make decisions like that on daughters. On daughters.
What about
is
on
that
my auntie? Where's that fall?
Not as important. You might not be telling
Like
the truth.
auntie, then mom, then grandma.
No. Yeah, no.
And he fired off right after Dennis Allen got fired. He's fired off. There he go.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was Derek Carr, I'd know Derek. You got to be respectful, and you did perfect at the podium. But bro, no one would have hated it if you got up there and been like, you know what, Michael Thomas, get off my dick.
Yeah, but you know
like,
what?
and just drop the mic.
Oh yeah, in his
Like,
voice, like
or go online and put GOMD and just leave it there.
But I'll tell
You don't have the confidence to fire off tweets like that when you lose to every single NFL football team.
My question was like, was there a universe where they show him those tweets at the half to motivate him? You know what I mean? Like a staffer comes in and is like, hey, Derek,
Derek, might want to log on real quick. Check Mike Thomas timeline.
Unblock Mike Thomas real quick.
He said your ass on grandma's.
Grannies.
But here's my issue is like, Derek Carr handled it perfectly. And he's a bigger man than me. And like, sometimes I'll see adults adulting and I'll be like, damn, I really don't have it together, because I would have been totally different in that situation. But he is truly a guy I admire for the way he handled himself. Like, I'm not saying the player's great right now, but what I am saying is, like, he got up there and he was like, hey, listen, I've had a ton of teammates. He's the only one that's ever had that we haven't been able to, like, get along. You know, I've reached out to him. I haven't changed my number. I'm hoping for the best for him. Like, that was like, damn, holy adult.
Yep, and it got to be,
Batman.
and it has to be true, because in the world full of clout, by now, an old teammate that might have not liked Derek Carr would have been like, "Bro, I didn't like you either." Like, I
Right,
feel like
you
they
would
would
think somebody would've, like,
they would have
took a
tweeted
side.
or been like, "You know what? Like, yeah, I didn't like you either." That's a lie.
Devontae Adams loves him. Like, a lot of his teammates in Vegas seem to love him. Like, I don't know.
But every team, you usually have a guy. Like, you usually have a guy you're on a team with, even if they're a star,
You got one
play
guy
next
that
to him,
loves you.
that you end up like maybe don't like. You're just like, hey, we're
I
on
don't
a,
know. I
we're
don't know
on
if
a
I ever
team.
had a guy that, like-
we're on a team together, but I don't see myself hanging out or really interacting with you like outside the locker room.
I think it's a big logical leap to think everybody's got that guy that you would write 10 tweets about while they're playing football, and you know, like, and they can't defend themselves. You know what your best take yesterday was?
Was that?
Squid Game came up. Hey, Beau. Squid Game came up, and they were like, "You watch Squid Game, Chris?" And I was like, "Nah, a little dark for me." And Nate goes, "Is it? Is it dark? Like, you think that's dark?" And I go, "Bro, like, there's 100 or so people that got killed over, like, living in poverty, basically. Like, that was the premise of the thing, is like, you're so impoverished that you have to go risk your life on this fucking game show, and you die at the end of it. And Nate goes, yeah, but the winner won like $5,000.
No, $4 million.
The winner won like $4 million. That's not dark. I'm like, bro, like it can't get any darker than
about
Squid
the
Game.
900 or 99 people or whatever. He cares about the one winning.
DA, bro, devil's advocate, DA.
Yeah,
that's my dog.
The last point about this game, just real fast. Bryce Young, how do you think he played? I mean, he
Shout
had
out
cooked
Bryce.
or uncooked. Cooked or uncooked? Bryce Young.
I'm uncooked. Like he put that ball on the wide receiver, got taken away. It was a perfect pass.
Flyover game. Didn't see all the throws.
Yep.
Don't want to comment
Totally
on
fair.
until I look at it. Hey, we come back in the preview show. It'll be Glaze City. If
He sucks.
that's
This
what it
game
was.
sucked. Both teams suck. The coaches on both staffs need fired. That's my thoughts. That's my professional opinion.
My professional opinion is Dennis Allen really lasted a long time.
Long time.
Like if he has
He's a good D
like
coordinator,
a funeral,
though.
like he's
Not a
like,
good head coach.
He was a
Good
fighter.
Yeah.
Like he just wouldn't quit.
He wouldn't quit. Wouldn't
Like,
go down.
If he was a dead guy, he's the type of dead guy that put his people through like 5 years or something. Like
Yeah.
you know what I
Would have
mean?
made it to the top 10 in Squid Games for sure.
Yes,
He's,
dude.
he's like the one at the end of every movie when one guy has to die and
Yeah.
he takes like 6 hits that would have killed
Oh,
everybody
for
else.
sure.
But he has the sword sticking out of his shoulder and like he gets hit 3 times in
Didn't
the back.
Ben Stiller get killed that way in Tropic Thunder or no?
No.
He's the.
What did Robert Downey Jr. Who was he telling to survive?
Oh, he's the fireman from Game of Thrones that they just keep bringing back to life with fire.
Oh, I
Kept getting back to life, and then until that last time. Say it again.
Or Thoros.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Boros, yeah.
Thoros? Not to be confused with
that
Thanos.
until that last time, they just couldn't bring him back. And that's
Thanos
him
does
getting
this
fired.
thing. I know Thanos. He does this thing.
What happened in the books, though, Nate?
I am inevitable.
And then the world ends, supposedly. I've never seen the movie.
For half of people.
For half the people?
Yeah, that's his whole thing. He like wants to half of everything.
He wants to kill half the people.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't know this, Chris?
I don't either.
I haven't watched
You
the
haven't
movie.
seen Endgame?
No.
Me either.
Doesn't it sound like what's going on tomorrow? Like,
Yeah, really. Last
That's crazy.
flyover game. Patriots Titans.
hey, I've never seen a team lose a game that felt so much like a damn win.
Right.
Seriously. I mean, I know those Pats players want to win games. They could have had 3 wins by now. Like, they're almost at the total. So, when people are talking about Gerard Mayo, like, this team's fighting. He called him soft a couple weeks ago. The team
Still
did
soft.
well. I don't know if I can call him that after yesterday. Like, they hung in there. They almost won that damn game. I mean, I got to watch the all 22, Nate, before I start calling people soft. You think they were soft?
They're not firm.
You thought they were soft yesterday?
I just think they're not firm.
Did you think they were soft yesterday?
Uh,
Tell me what you don't like about their team.
they're just not good.
Okay, DA. He's
This
devil's
is the-
advocate.
But look, you want to know the best thing
What?
about them?
What?
And a positive for them? They're so good at not being good. They have Drake May right
They have
now,
Drake May.
who's the #1 pick, and they're still in the running
Exactly.
for the #1 pick if they keep losing this year.
Dude, as soon as he threw that ball to send him into overtime, it was like, it doesn't really matter. Now, part of that, I guess a lot of this is the fact that I had them with 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they went into overtime, it was like, hey, kick a field goal for all I care. Like, it doesn't matter. That was
They need to start thinking about Travis Hunter.
that was an
both sides of the ball for
incredible
them.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was incredible.
Oh,
Drake May played. Dude.
No.
Unbelievable.
What?
That was
No.
incredible. What?
Hold on a second. Hey, you think Travis Hunter is going to be a first overall pick?
I think he's gonna be up there.
I think he's gonna be. I'm saying for the
He's top
Patriots. He's gonna be up there for sure, and the Patriots might get one of those picks. So yeah,
I don't think he's going to be top 5.
Where do you think he's
Okay.
gonna?
And I don't
Where do you
think
think he's gonna go?
that's fine. He just hates
Top of the second
Colorado.
round.
We did this before.
You think Travis Hunter's a second round pick?
He hates Colorado,
Yeah.
bro. He hates Colorado.
33
He's
overall.
a Heisman
hates
Trophy-
Everything about Colorado, bro. Don't do this right now.
Well, you can't say how.
I mean, you're telling me.
Well,
hold on, let me-
candidate.
This is a
Sorry,
Dr.
candidate.
Fax take
No.
right now.
But it doesn't matter.
You're telling me
if
that
he's a Heisman.
if you're a mid DB and a mid wide receiver, you're a top 5 pick.
You think he's mid?
See, look, I'm not even saying anything.
Damn, bro, you're acting like facts right now.
Yeah, he is. With this, when it's
I
Colorado
literally just
players,
said this is a Fax take right now.
when it's Colorado players, this is how he.
So
feels.
if you're mid at both positions, that makes you a top 10 at both together.
We'll just remember. We'll clip this for next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
during the-
We're gonna
what you
clip
call
this.
it. But
What? Like what? I'm so confused.
Don't do it right now.
No, I'm confused.
I know. He wants you to be confused.
I'm not going to be confused.
He wants you.
I'm not going to do this.
Because you're going to look at the numbers and be like, wait, what?
No, I look at the tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the tape.
Yeah.
He makes
I don't watch any
one.
tape.
It's evident. I don't watch much college at all, but like I've seen this guy do some things that I'm like, bro, that's rare suddenness. Like that's rare break on the ball. That's rare body control. And when you get all that to go with the production, man, I feel like he's a top 5 pick. That's just me.
Travis Hunter will get reach drafted in the first round by a shitty organization and squander his career.
Damn.
Godly.
Hate.
Hate.
That's not hate. That's not hating Travis Hunter.
He's mocked number 1 in like half the mock drafts out there right now.
Let's head to the mentions, guys.
Yeah.
One last note on this game. The Pats did mess up the coin toss in overtime. They lost. The Titans got it, and they decided to play into the wind. Drake May's interception was held up in the wind as well.
Oh, that's a real Bob Seger move there by Gerard Mayo. You don't want
against the wind.
You don't want to go against the wind. You don't want to be Bob Seger in OT. So,
but what you do want to do, what you do want to be is BetMGM before Greenlight's BetMGM moments.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Reed, I'm so glad you said that. As we head to our BetMGM moments, thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans, I want y'all to picture something. You bet your favorite player as first touchdown scorer, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone, and you lost your bet, right? Wrong. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first touchdown score bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting. You could also just sign up and tail the Greenlight Gambling Show. 12-3 this week. 5-0 your boy. 5-0 Stanford Steve. Also, Stanford Steve has been clapping cheeks on game day. Fucking what is he?
I think through this
I
week he
saw
was
him at 2/3.
Yep.
That's pretty damn good, huh? A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's terrible at this. He's destroying people out here." Dude,
I want to hear Nick Saban next show just say, "Hey, Steve, I heard you're clapping cheeks on your
Yeah.
Someone told me you're clapping cheeks out there. Way to go.
Clap them cheeks down. I'm sure Pat McAfee would say it.
Down.
I've said it before, but I'm totally surprised, and I'm loving Nick Saban like on that set. Like I didn't think it was going to work out.
It is objectively awesome.
It's so great, bro.
He was
because he's so different on there from what he looks like from outside looking in, watching him coach.
He was the perfect missing piece, and like I thought, like adding Pat was great, and like I think Steve's great on there. I think like all those guys are great. They're all fixtures, but I think adding a guy like that, an elder statesman, to a cast, like our Inside the NFL show. Adding Bill this year was incredible, dude. Like it brings out something different in all the young guys, man. It's the same thing. We love like having those father figures on set with us, dude. Like that's like you lean in when they talk.
The dichotomy.
Like
that makes it great.
And it's player and coach. It's the way a player thinks about something and the way a coach thinks about something. It's awesome.
Best flight, BetMGM moments. We're gonna fly through these puppies.
Hey, good night, Caleb. Shout out to Caleb. Been up for 24, about to get some big Z's. Big fan. Thank you, Caleb. I love being up for 24 hours and then being so damn tired you can barely fall asleep. You know, that's kind of like...
You get goofy tired?
Oh, goofy tired.
It's the best.
Dude, one time I drove from Flagstaff to Charlottesville without stopping.
That's wild.
And
that's wild.
Wait,
swear to God.
Arizona.
It's 30-something hours of driving. Didn't stop. Only stopped for gas and one time to let my wife drive for 2 hours in Kentucky because that's where the road was straightest and least hazardous. She knows it. I was awake all night driving through Oklahoma City, the whole thing. I really drove from L.A. to Virginia, stopped in Flagstaff for 6 hours. That was my stop. I got some trucker blood, bro.
Jeez.
I got a CDL.
2,084 miles.
It's a long way.
Long way. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, I would love to be a trucker. Just being alone.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
10-4 rubber dick.
Nothing but you and the music and a can of Zin.
And the bricks of cocaine in your trunk.
And the open road.
Roll on highway, roll on along. I wish Kyle was here for that because he actually knows that song.
Yeah. Best flight.
Commanders.
You got to avoid the lot lizards, though, Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're out there on the.
That's not something you want to play with.
No, you do not. You
Good.
do not.
All good.
Why are you looking at me?
What are you saying?
Commanders. You say Commanders best flight?
You want Commanders best flight? Is that your? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bus ride.
Lot lizards.
Lot lizards,
On
bro.
the
You
way
know what
back.
they are? They're the prostitutes.
On the way back. So Commanders hit the lot lizards on the way from New York. The Maryland house.
We don't.
No,
we don't want the lot
The
lizards.
stop is the Maryland
The
house.
lot lizards
From
don't
New
stop
York?
at the Maryland house,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, they do.
You think they
just
stop
don't-
at the Maryland house?
Yes. You just don't know where they're at.
You do?
You're not hip to it.
You do?
Because look, when you're a
Do you
regular
have a
car,
CDL I don't know
no,
about?
when you have a regular car, you're not even allowed to go over into the truck section.
That's what they're doing. They're protecting the trucker's privacy.
Yep. And then the New Age lot lizards, if you're really on your game, you got to wait near.
I love lot lizard talk.
Listen, you got to wait near the electric vehicle charging stations because they have to stay there for at least 2 hours.
Who does?
If you have an electric car, you have to charge your car.
So
at
how
a
do
stop.
lot lizards figure in?
Because you have to just sit and wait for 2 hours. So that's perfect timing when you have nothing to do.
The lot lizards are trying to get the EV drivers too?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're really up on your game, why not only truckers?
I don't know
truckers
if they
stop
are, but it
for-
makes sense.
truckers stop to rest.
I don't think
and
lot
people-
lizards do both. I think they're just like they have like
I
a
think
thing.
in the Venn
That's a lie,
diagram
bro.
of lot lizard clients, you got truckers on this side, and you have EV drivers.
Right there, bro.
Okay, so
they're the ones
no-
that are stopping for a
None of
long
that.
time now. EV
Oh,
drivers
fuck, it's
are
5:20. Have you been talking
Yeah,
to Kevin
yeah,
Clark?
we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to
We've
go
got
on Kevin Clark's show after
25
this.
minutes. So, Bo, what's your best flight?
Oh fuck! Tough transition from lot lizards into best flight. Best flight: Detroit Lions, big win in Green Bay. Short little flight. Get out of that shitstorm of weather, that monsoon in Green Bay. Green Bay sucks. Back to Detroit.
Really? You think Green Bay sucks?
Mm-mm.
No, I like Green Bay.
They put hollandaise sauce on everything.
I know, Chris. I know.
It's nuts, bro. Like
Is that the sauce they put on when you Oscar your steak?
it looks like somebody.
Yeah.
It looks like what they did to. It looks like some of the refs were doing whatever they were doing to who was it?
Oh, they ejaculated.
Yeah, hollandaise sauce is nasty, bro. It's just. It looks like Peter North is back in the kitchen.
Damn.
Like,
Great white.
Some old motherfuckers in this chat get that.
What's your best flight?
Best flight. Glad you asked. Chargers.
Charges.
No, that's not the best flight.
It was a long one.
Yeah, it's a long one. No, you know why I like the Chargers flight? It's an early game.
You're back early, right?
They're back at one. They're back.
West Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yo,
5 or 6.
5 or 6. You might still beat the sun,
Yeah.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
Even with daylight savings. Which, by the way, I'll say this: daylight's fall back or whatever we're in. It's really hard to understand, even in year 39. It definitely changes the tone of the 4 p.m.s. Things get a little more ominous. I feel like it's a shit show. Like the minute fall back happens, all the 4 p.m.s turn into shit shows. So just look out for that.
Yeah. And kids, babies, they don't respect daylight savings.
Not at all, bro.
They do not give a shit about it. My daughter has been off the chains the past couple of days since daylight
Bro,
savings.
I'm like showing my 1-year-old a clock. I'm like,
Yeah. No.
do you see this?
Yeah, she does not care at all.
My
Worst
kids
flight.
woke up all confused. Worst flight? Glad you asked, Nate.
I am going with Derek Carr.
Ooh.
That's my worst flight. Him sitting on that flight, reading tweets and reading articles all aimed at him, losing to almost every single franchise, and then his ex-teammate just blasting him. And then the worst thing about it too, whether he's seen it or not, it probably really is disturbing, not only to see the tweets, but to see how many likes and retweets that the tweets actually have. Like
And-
that's what's kind of like, damn.
And it sucks. You said he has lost to almost every team. He's still got the Raiders on the schedule. So he's sitting there knowing he's got this game that he could be the first quarterback to lose to every single team.
And you know Max Crosby can't wait to hit his ass.
Nope.
All right, worst flight. Glad you asked. I'm gonna say it's the Bears, dude. That's an awful flight. Sorry, it's just an awful flight.
And it was raining.
You guys took both mine.
And it was raining. It was probably turbulent too, even though it was quick.
Oh, for sure. It was raining in the desert. That's crazy. Never seen that.
And then it was raining in
not period
well,
in
you
the
don't,
desert, but
yeah.
during a game there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bo, do you have one? Or did you get
I was gonna say Saints. Fax, great call. Then I was gonna say Bears. Chris, great call. Now I'm going to say Broncos. Kind of got the brakes blown off you.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, on a long flight.
You know,
Yeah.
daylight
I mean,
savings
Dallas's
time.
flight.
I don't know.
Can you imagine? And the worst thing about the Dallas flight is, like, that's the type of place. Atlanta and Dallas, how far is that drive? I might rather fucking drive home.
5
than be on
hours?
that. Yeah,
I mean,
probably
based
longer.
on your drive from
11 hours.
fucking flags,
I could probably do a 12-hour drive. I just told you. I got trucker blood. I'd much rather fucking get in the car immediately after the game, pull out of that lot. It takes 2 hours to load the plane up and depart. Takes another hour to fly there, 30 minutes. And you guys spend the whole time with your team.
And the whole team scrolling through social media, seeing Dak saying we fucking suck in slow-mo.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Rough. Bo, why don't you kick off Bevel Conway so you can't get it stolen?
Oh, I love that. Oh, man, I had a lot of good ones. Kelly Green, I'm going to say that's what but no, I'm actually not going to say Kelly Green, okay? That's too fucking easy. I'm changing it. The headstand Selly photo of Amon-Ra St. Brown is fucking electric. That is my Bevel Conway. I don't know how that little phenomenon has taken off so quickly, but yeah, amazing.
Robert Moretti asked, do we only cover the NFC? Well, not necessarily. If you notice, the Sunday night football game featured a team from the AFC, as well as the Philadelphia game.
He got in too late.
And exactly.
You got here too late, bro.
You got here too late, bro.
It's all right. The show starts over.
You can't be late.
The show starts over in a little bit. You'll be fine.
You're
dude.
Jermaine Burton, bro. Just be on time. We did the first half of the show. We got to order this shit somehow. You know? I love you, though.
Yeah, we love you, bro.
I don't know if y'all saw this, but Alvin Kamara actually started that head whatever it's called.
The head thing.
He did?
That's him from back in Tennessee. He started that
was
celebration.
him.
Who? That was
Kamara in the middle.
did it first, and then somebody
I love how
from
it's
like
in
West
black and white.
Kentucky did.
Yeah.
That's tasteful.
I thought it was from
Drake London was.
It was from the college game. There was obviously a big gap between Alvin Kamara's college.
But I
career
thought it
and
was from Chris Brown in the movie where he died, the dance movie. That's like his little dance move.
Fuck! What is that movie?
Tyreek kind of
anyway.
did it too. Yeah.
Chris Bevel Conway.
Oh, Bevel Conway. You know, I got an unexpected one. I actually think the Raiders and the Bengals have a beautiful color combination. I think they look really good when they play each other.
White and black.
It's just like kind of reminds me of the 80s. Even though the Bengals could use going back to the old Anthony Munoz's, you know, with the tiger on the shoulder.
I'm going Green Bay. Green Bay in the rain. I love the just plain yellow, nothing on it, no decal helmets. I think a lot of people don't like it, but with the all green, I think it looked good.
Oh, man.
I like it.
I'm not going to kink shame.
I like it, bro. I mean, it reminded me of kind of a little bit like of the Color Rush, just all single one color, top and bottom together. I think that looks good. I think maybe that's what it is.
You like the monochromatic thing. With you like Color Rush?
Yeah.
You like those.
And
green.
I think I'm starting to realize I hate dark pants, white top. I like whatever it is, I'm not a fan.
You know what? I think New England for the longest time. When I played in New England, I loved that white top uniform. I liked them both. I liked them both. Honestly.
That's funny you say that because my anti-bevel Conway, I'm gonna jump right in here.
I'm with you.
Titans Pat.
I'm with you.
Like I think they have the worst, just regular, plain, everyday jerseys. Like in the NFL, they're just like they're old school. They're not appealing, and I think that game was just
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you. That's what I had written down as well. But there are other ugly games. I can find out another ugly game.
Bo, you got an anti?
I had Pats and Titans also.
It's okay. We agree.
Facts?
Yeah.
It's okay if we agree.
Yo, Dallas and Atlanta, that
Look
sucks. I mean, that's the ugliest stadium to watch on TV. I think personally that stadium is hideous. And then the Falcons uniforms could be so much better.
Mm-hmm. Really,
you know?
You really can.
Jeff George, please. Jeff George on line one.
Because they have just a dope logo and like
some
dope colors.
They look like some jesters, bro. That's who they remind me of. When they debuted they look like a bunch of court jesters.
It's like the Titans and the Falcons both had. They were just too
I would buy a
early
Falcons
or
jester
late.
hat.
Titans and the Falcons.
Like their jerseys. They were like, we're trying
the
to
Falcons
be
yeah.
when they.
like,
Innovative.
Trying to be innovative,
but
trying to be
now,
ahead of the curve,
late,
but
just a little late.
like
Bro,
it was
they're
like,
the
these
dudes-
are what the jerseys will look like.
They
in
look like
2050.
They're the
any
dudes
given
rocking
They look like
Yeah.
from any given Sunday.
They're the dudes rocking Coogee and fucking Rockaware stuff.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
you don't do that.
It's just like that was
I
the
would never.
style back then, but it's like
I would never.
speed up a little
I
bit.
would
What
never.
fly on the wall?
Fly on the wall. Fly on the wall. Fly on the wall. Wow. Fly
I
on the
got
wall.
one.
Go ahead.
I would have loved to have been a fly at the wall at the good old Penn State college football game, hanging out with my buddy Jason Kelsey, to see what really happened, how that interaction transpired. I would have loved to have witnessed that because that looked like fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of would have felt like we were security for him, and then we might have ended up catching the charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
Not many opportunities you get to smack a frat boy in the face like that. Like justified,
not a lot
like
must
in
be
broad
played for,
daylight,
Alabama,
dead
I
sober.
guess.
I'm not gonna lie. Is it the craziness in me? But I want to see the angle of that kid's phone. If that video went to
Did the
his
phone break
cloud.
or not?
No, like it probably broke.
Oh,
but
the video.
The video he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
from that.
Yeah.
There's got to be a
of it just go psh, and then
It's like
blacking
a
out.
GoPro that gets eaten by like a bear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nate, do you have a fly on the wall?
My fly on the wall is going to Jaden Daniels talking to Malik Neighbors multiple times during the game.
Mark
and,
Sanchez was not happy.
and I just would love to hear what he's saying, and then all the memes that they're putting of what Neighbors possibly was saying to him is just pure internet comedy.
Yeah. Were they?
Poor Daniel Jones.
Was it nice stuff or not nice?
No,
stuff?
it's like it's like Malik supposedly saying, "Hey, Daniel Jones's ass, trade for me, bro."
Yeah, but why is Mark Sanchez upset? Because you shouldn't talk to your team. You shouldn't talk
Because it was in the middle of the game. He was saying, do it before or after. I don't want to see that happening in the middle of the game.
Where were
I
they-
need you to lock in.
Where were they talking?
It was like on the sideline. Like
after
during
a
the game.
play? Like
Yeah.
after a play, basically?
Yeah, in between plays.
I mean, fuck.
We're friends, bro. You don't got any real friends, Squanch?
Squanch. Fly on the wall. Fly on the wall. Fly on the wall. You know, I don't have time.
Perfect. Nate and Bo and Chris, best seat.
Anyone looking for a head
Best
coaching
seat.
job? Anyone looking for a head coaching job in the NFL?
Justin Fields seeing Getsy getting fired,
That's good.
maybe.
Zeke.
Zeke.
Zeke. Didn't have to travel with the team. Didn't have to sit there on the sideline.
Didn't have to
Listen
deal with that
fucking
worst
Dak
flight.
say, We fucking suck.
But the
Didn't
running
have to
back,
go to Atlanta.
the running back,
Get beat by the Falcons.
Worst seat.
oh, it was me.
I got one.
Me at Chris's house wearing my Apple Watch, with my Apple Watch telling me to stand up while I'm watching football every 30 minutes.
You like
Damn
this
it, Apple
fucking
Watch.
Apple Watch keeping me from dying.
Just stand up.
This fucking wearable tech making me healthier.
But it's just like every time I see it, it's like, you lazy piece of shit. Stand
Yeah,
up
pretty
right
much.
now. You're not doing anything. So
What's next?
My worst seat, Cowboy, will be Chris Long down in Ole Miss as he watches the Green Light Pod Red Bull Flutog team take home the fucking championship on Saturday. Chris, we're going to be doing champagne baths. I'm going to be taking shots of tequila, partying with the boys after we bring home a world record performance at Red Bull Flutog, and you're just going to be so fucking jealous.
I am going to be jealous, but I'm not going to be at Ole Miss. I'm going to be in Baton Rouge,
yeah.
which is
Baton
a
Rouge.
big difference.
Ole Miss game, wherever the fuck you're going to be at.
Now,
We're
I would like to go to the Grove, but I probably, but Baton
That's the
Rouge
next
is going to be
SC
pretty.
trip.
I hear it's incredible, and I'm going down Friday night, and I
They
think
have
I'm
the
gonna see
real
my
guard
friend,
down
my
there.
friend Ryan Rosillo there.
They have the alligator guards down there in Baton Rouge.
I know I need to get one.
Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Jerry and Jones, who will probably end up on a statue someday with him getting jumped over backwards by Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's not good.
He is in NFL infamy for forever.
But I literally hadn't heard his name yet. So maybe he skates because it's so like there's no touching in that play, and he jumped over like a couple people. It felt like
he skates for now, but like that picture is forever. Like that's a highlight that's going to be on Saquon's highlight thing.
When you're like with your kids, like, and you're watching that on like a Sunday once you're tired, you just say nothing.
Dad, is that you?
No, you just say nothing. You just say nothing
until a kid at school knows your dad's the one that got jumped over. I see him on this card. Look.
Beau, would you have Hollow Man?
Hollow Man. University of Louisiana Monroe assistant coach Cam Blankenship absolutely fucking lost his mind during the game. And I watched this clip, and it was like, I've been around excessive coaches before. I think we all have. This was like excessive.
Oh, that was bad.
It was bad. It was ugly, man. Yeah, he
got a little bit. Yeah,
it's a tough one.
Oh, I do have a best seat. The guy who decommitted from Mississippi State
at the game.
At the game,
wow,
got caught texting or tweeting that he's decommitting, or texting a coach, or what was he doing? And what was
tweeting? He was typing out the tweet.
Yeah, what was the score? What was the score of the game at this point?
That's hilarious, bro.
There was another best seat. The Vanderbilt player who 2 years ago on Christmas was told that he doesn't have a spot on I forget what team. I don't think he just or no, it was the team that Vanderbilt played, and then they beat him this week.
Yep.
Best seat.
Fuck this college football. It sounds great.
STL Memorial.
I'm giving it to Myles Garrett. I told you I'd never seen somebody get 3 sacks in 4 plays. I mean, unless I missed something, I think it was 3 and 4 plays, and it happened to be against 2 of the best tackles in the league, supposedly. I mean, right? He's so fucking sudden. Like, it's just, you know, when you're around somebody that big and they move, it's like you feel the wind. You feel like the draft from them getting off the ball. Or like honestly, it's like the cell phone videos where people try to feed bears. You know how quickly a bear moves all of a sudden, and people are like, oh shit. That's what it's like being being around somebody like Myles Garrett, dude. It's just the power and the suddenness. There's really nobody like him. I'm not saying he's the best edge guy in the league. Like, you know, year after year we argue about TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah, you know, Nick Bosa. But he's the only guy who, when I watch, like, my jaw's on the floor every week. Like, the stuff TJ does, I'm like, wow, what an amazing football player.
Yeah.
Like, he's the best he was born to be a football player. But the stuff Myles Garrett does, I'm just like, holy shit, did that 6'7" guy just run on the side of his foot?
Yeah.
Like 6 inches off the ground.
The way he bends the corner is just unbelievable.
He's 300 pounds. I know he's not 300 pounds, so I'm rounding up. But, like, he's a fucking big man. Crazy.
Beau, what do you have for STL Memorial?
7 receptions, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. JSN balled out for Seattle, even though they lost in overtime to the Rams. But he had a fucking great day. Good game
call.
from him.
Nate?
I was going to give it to the Black Tebow, but since Chris didn't say him, I'm going to have to give it to Trey Hendrickson, who had 4 sacks and 7 QB hits.
Stop it.
Yes, he did. And I know teams, again, like I was saying earlier, I know teams were mad that the Bengals won because, like, if you're a team that needed the end, you probably definitely.
Was that on Colton Miller, all that?
That I'm not sure, but he had a game, bro.
He
looked like
the league leader in sacks.
Look at that.
11 on the year.
Good for him.
Put some good tape out there just in case things go bad.
I mean,
you know,
I don't know, keep it. It's a little too late. I think. But
who'd y'all have for game ball?
Game ball.
Game ball.
Game
ball.
Easy.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Oh, Tyler Bass, 61-yard game winner. Take the game ball. Great kick.
Game ball. A guy probably didn't think he was going to get one of these again this season. Bryce Young stepping in and getting the win.
You know, I could give it to Nakobe Dean, who probably saved us talking about Nick Sirianni in a different light. But I would like to give it to a coach, Dan Campbell. he's got his team ready to play every week, dude. And you guys know this from being in the NFL. Like, there are teams that, we've been on, maybe good teams that, like, you show up and you're complacent and you don't play you play down to people. Like, they don't do that. They play up to good opponents. They beat the dog shit out of bad opponents. They have really put together an incredible run. And to win in the weather yesterday where the home team was not focused, not ready, dropping balls, like, they just executed, bro. Like, Dan Campbell, game ball.
And I learned this.
Damn team.
I learned this from Dan Campbell. When there's a pick six on Sunday, you can go to Applebee's on Monday and get free wings.
Isn't that interesting?
Or half off, or whatever it is.
6 wings. Go to
So
Applebee's.
everybody can get 6 wings because there was a pick six?
Yeah, there's probably some small writing
Probably.
terms.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
probably have to buy a drink or
It's
something.
probably like in the markets
Or it's
something.
half.
That's how
half.
like I think. In
Oh, it's
baseball,
gotta
they
be in
do
the
Papa
market.
John's, so like in DC, if the Nats hit a homer, you get a free pizza.
Really?
It's like only in the area. Yeah.
In the area, but like in all the areas that so that's only in Detroit.
That's
What if your team gets a pick six against you? Like, what if you're like
in Green Bay.
What if you're like you have a terrible quarterback in your market and like you're living off Applebee's? Like, I could see you,
Jameis Winston.
I could see you the way you take food home.
Yep.
Like, I
Hey,
could see
don't
you
call
going to
me
Apple.
out. Don't call me out about
Tom-
taking food
You
home.
take a tomahawk steak home. He ordered a tomahawk steak and was like, "Let me just put this to the side here. Can I get a to-go box for that? Because I'm going to be taking this home."
He just texted me to wrap up that sushi.
I bet he did.
Bo, who'd you have for Drip King?
Drip King. You got the photo of this one, Cowboy?
Yeah, we do.
Pretty good. TJ Hawkinson back in the lineup
Hawk.
for the Vikes, Sunday Night Football, walking into the fucking stadium like Jackson, Maine. Look at this guy. Looks like a fucking rock star.
Who's Jackson Maine?
I got you, Bill.
Chris.
I really don't know.
Stars
Stars
Born.
Born
Stars
Star.
Born.
Bradley
Okay, I just
Cooper.
don't know the
Yeah.
names of people in movies.
Yeah.
Stars Born's a good movie.
I just want to get another look at you.
Yeah. Now Sam Elliott was fantastic in the movie. It's some of his best acting, up there with him in the Gronk commercials. Acting like he's not totally offended to be acting on a set with Gronk.
Fax, who'd you have for your viral moment of the week?
My viral moment of the week is going to Coach Shane Beamer
Oh yeah, dude.
of the Gamecocks, South Carolina Gamecocks.
That's right.
They won a big game against Texas A&M, and he had this whole thing set up that if they won, he was going to riz his wife up by having his team sing a song that they always sing in practice, this Fantasia, When I See You song. And the way he's just so excited to say this and to tell the DJ or whoever in their locker room to play this song while he's telling his wife, hey, come up here. I told my kids I had something special planned. And, bro, when he says hit it and they play the music and he kind of claps his hand in excitement and the team starts singing, I thought this was just a great video.
Let's see the beginning of it at
Right
least.
here, then we're going to break it down. My wife, family, I know you're in the back. Come on up here, Em. All right, come on in. She's got a birthday coming up this week. All right, so it's a great birthday for her, great birthday present. I told my kids all week that if we won this football game, all right, I was going to do a little celebration for her here in the locker room. I'm going to need y'all's help, but we ain't singing happy birthday. Don't think it's that, all right? I know y'all sing this song at practice. I'm going to need a little backup right here, but this is her little birthday. Hit it, Big Mike.
Hey!
The minute he knew that was a hit.
Way. What's happening to me?
That was pretty good, man.
He's got the head coach all rights down.
The all rights, bro. That's got to be it. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And my high school coach, John Blake, shout out. His thing was look it.
Look,
Look it. And they would chew you out. So
quick Monday night preview. We've got the Bucks at the Chiefs. Chiefs are 9-point favorites. Total is at 46. Any plays we're putting on tonight? Before we get to facts,
I'm kind of lost on this one. I mean, for that line to be that big, you know they're gonna. Vegas knows the Chiefs don't cover big lines. They know that, and they know we know that. So I'm kind of wondering.
It's a trap.
I'm wondering. That's a lot of points. I want to take the Bucks. I think I want to take the Chiefs if I had to take one.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, Bo's cut. Can't hear him. Can't hear you, Beau.
No, we can't.
27-17 Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, that'll cover.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going to take the Chiefs, I think. At the very least, I might tease the Chiefs with the over. So,
Nate, who you got as first touchdown scorer?
First touchdown scorer, guys. Tonight, I got 2 picks. I'm going to have a pick for each side just in case we got both Tampa and Kansas City fans. So for tonight, first pick, I am going with Carson Steele. He's a guy that the Kansas City Chiefs, they prove that they keep giving him the ball. They trust him. I don't know why. He fumbles a lot. But they do trust him. They give him the ball. Great odds, plus 2,800. And on the other hand, another guy who runs the ball for them, and a few games ago, we might have forgot he had like 140 on the ground. Sean Tucker is great value, plus 5,000 first touchdown tonight. And remember, if your first scorer does not score and ends up scoring the second touchdown, you get your bet back.
can I ask you something, knowing nothing about his involvement in the game plan? What's Justin Watson's first touchdown number tonight?
Let me look for you.
Revenge game for J. Watt.
Justin
Watson, revenge game. Used to be with the Bucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Could be a
kind
good
of
one,
wondering. I
Fax.
feel like
He's 22-1.
22, yeah.
bro,
20.
that's worth throwing a little bit of something on.
Nice.
Just a sprinkle.
And me and Matt, we kind of discovered this and don't want to make it too much of a big thing. But what happens if you bet on no touchdown? How do you get a free bet back if no one scores? If you bet,
Well, I think
no
it's just push.
touchdown
Well,
as the first touchdown,
if no one scores, you win.
you win that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that's what it is.
You win. You answered your own question.
But if someone else scores, there's no way to get your bet back.
That's true.
That's the thing.
That's a really good question. Hey, we'll have more good questions, good points. Who won the F word counter today? Did you guys do that?
You dominated 57-13.
No way. You know, I'm gonna take
Wait,
the high road.
wait. You won or you lost?
He lost.
Yeah. You
Oh,
lost,
really?
bro? That's how many times you said it.
I
Why do
said
you-
fuck that many times.
I actually missed
You fucking
several.
suck. bro.
You know, they say,
He thought he won.
I thought I won, dude.
We fucking
You
suck.
don't even realize it anymore.
No, because, you know, I'm an adult, man, you know? Anyways, take care. Take good care. We'll
See you
y'all
on
later in the
Friday,
week.
10 a.m.
Friday, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly.